I was listening to some old-timey music the other day, and it was making me think of how depressing it would be if that was the only music that you could hear. La 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 la.
It's the David Lynch movie. The David Lynch, in his movies, he always has those songs like "There's a woman dead in a hotel," and there's just this.
Can you imagine living in the days where that tuba with a needle at the bottom of it?
My grandfather had one of those.
Really?
Like in my home in Pelham, in his home in Pelham, New York, they had an old chronograph. I think that's what it's called, right?
That's crazy.
A chronograph, and they would play, classical. My grandparents never listened to. They were Sicilian. They never listened to music.
Did your parents or your grandparents have the TV in a cabinet?
Uh-huh.
And then
They certainly did.
And then if the TV would die, a lot of times folks would put the new TV on top of the cabinet. They would keep the cabinet with the blown out TV.
Yeah.
Dude, everybody did that.
Well, I had a family that never threw anything away.
No, mine neither.
Never, ever. I'm talking about road cones. You go out to my attic, you find crazy shit up there.
Phonograph.
Yes.
Too, by the phonograph, not a chronograph.
A phonograph.
Oh,
yeah.
what's a chronograph?
But
What's
they
the
also had a
difference?
chronograph.
Oh, watch. Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
funny.
chronology. God damn it.
Yeah, those things are crazy. Like, that was how they used to listen to music. A tuba attached to a needle.
That's right. And you'd hear.
And the speaker must have
Vinyl.
sounded like dog shit.
My dad used to have a dust cover for his turntable, and he would. There was a ritual to how you clean your LP.
Oh, there's a ritual?
Yeah, you got to dust it off. You have a special cloth and all that
Look
shit.
at that thing.
Yep, that's
Just
what we
take
had.
a peek at that fucker. Look at that. That's nuts.
It's
For
incredible.
people at home, it does look like a traffic cone, right? It does, right? Like a big old brass traffic
And
cone.
the little needles
I
right
read.
there.
I read that Ted Williams, the great. This might have been a myth, but the great baseball player Ted Williams, who could hit a fastball, hit any kind of ball, and he apparently could read the label of a record as it was going around. His eyes could slow shit down.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I wonder if that's true.
I wonder, well, yeah. You know,
These are one of these things you hear, right?
Yeah.
Like Joe Frazier was in a hotel room. There were 4 flies in the room. There was a regular story about the flies. And he went and caught them all. And he goes, "Here are your flies. Get the fuck out of here."
Eddie Griffin was
Smoking
telling us
Joe.
a Bruce Lee story once. It was one of those.
Yeah.
I heard
He killed
that
him.
Bruce Lee was in a fight with 30 men. And he stood in the center of all of them. And you're like, wait. Where'd you hear this stuff?
I heard he never was in a ring. I heard he never sparred once. I don't think Bruce Lee ever
it
fought.
says it here.
Did he ever fight competitively?
It was rumored. No,
Yeah.
but he did one thing once where he sparred at like this karate festival.
One sparring session. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck.
That you could see.
Good luck against a
It
guy
says
like
to be able to
Darren
read
Till.
the label and then good luck to everybody against a guy like Darren Till.
Yeah, that's
good
true.
luck.
Good luck. I mean, God.
Yeah, Vinny Shorman, he does color commentary for a lot of big Muay Thai events.
Yeah.
And super knowledgeable, like as a striker, and he's also a hypnotist. I got hypnotized by him a couple times. I kept my pants on. Yeah, but,
Damn it.
but he got me.
Sorry.
Yeah, he hypnotized me. Fascinating. Hypnotism is
Did
fascinating.
you get hypnotized? Because you're
100%.
Really?
Yeah, I gave into it. Yeah, just let yourself achieve the state. But you realize what it is. It's like, oh, you've got this idea where like someone can like turn you into Manchurian Candidate if they hypnotize you and you wouldn't have control of your brain anymore. Like,
Yeah,
no. You're relaxing.
Yeah.
You're relaxing and you're open to suggestion in an interesting state of mind that you can achieve.
Right.
See, like, I think there's a larger spectrum of the way the mind works than we give it credit for. And I think, I've been thinking about this a lot, that's one of the things that happens with stand-up. I think if you're on stage and you're killing in stand-up, if I'm in the audience, it's like you've got me hypnotized. I'm locked up into your line of thinking, and like your act is very silly. So like when I'm watching you, like I start thinking in silly ways, and then you'll keep getting sillier and sillier, and then like I'm locked into your head. It's like it's a form of hypnosis.
100%.
And I think that so is like being in a good place. Thank you, young Jamie. So is being in a good place mentally. So is being in a bad place. I think there's a large spectrum in the mind of all these different. Cheers. Where are you going, fucker? You can't.
What kind of wine?
Cheers.
Stag's Leap.
Stag Leap is fantastic.
Is it?
Artemis.
Cheers, Jim.
It's all right. It's a
Drinking
solid wine. It's a
wine.
good juice, guys.
Like gentlemen.
I like when people say, it's a good juice. It's a good juice.
Hey, those guys are gross. Hey, you guys who say it's a good juce and you're talking about wine.
It's a sexy juice.
Stop talking
Honestly,
to
it's a
me.
sexy juice. Kind of feels like a.
Can't talk to you.
It's like taking a big bite out of wet hay.
Not gonna do it.
It's like having a wet dog
It's a great juice.
shake itself at you.
Have you ever gone to like a real wine tasting with a bunch of nerds?
Sure have.
They're
Because I'm one of those
amazing.
nerds.
Have you ever gone to a wine tasting where you graded a wine and you
No.
stood up and said it has woody aftertones and there's
I was
hints of
invited.
oak?
I was invited by a guy a long time ago, 20 years ago, and he said, "I'm going to invite you to a wine tasting where we all bring our own wines." And he said, "He's a good guy." I said, "Well, what do I bring?" And he said, "I don't want to insult you, but you can't afford the kind of wines that we're bringing. So I'm going to bring you a bottle from my cellar, so it doesn't make you look." That's how big these wines were. And I was there with the guy from like Zacky's or whatever they're different Sotheby's, the guys that set the standard and write the thing. And I was watching him taste it and write down notes. Wow. It was really wild. Nutmeg,
God damn,
leather,
man.
mushrooms, earth, all kinds of weird tasting notes. It's so subjective.
My buddy Matt is a huge wine head. Like he's got his own cellar in his house. It's all temperature controlled. And if I'm at a restaurant, I'll call Matt. Powerful Matt Lichtenberg. I'll call him up and I'll go, "Hey, okay, let me tell you what I got.
Yeah.
Tell me what to get."
Yeah.
And he'll just like, "Oh, the reason why this one sucks and stay away from this one and this is what you want. That's your groove right there. Grab that one." I'm like, "Okay." And he's always right.
Yeah.
LeBron's been known as a new wine head, and he
LeBron.
posted
Okay,
some of
that's
his bottles the
Asaikaya.
other
That's
day.
Asaikaya is a ridiculously good one. I've had that at 97.
So LeBron is a wine head.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah, he has some quite a few bottles of Opus One apparently, which is
Opus 1 is not. That's Asaikaya is way better than Opus 1.
All right.
Look at what he wrote here. "Last night was mad real, fresh out of Advil. Jesus grabbed the wheel. Sheesh." Imagine getting fucked up with LeBron James.
I think I brought that wine to your the one with the yellow.
I think you
label.
did.
I think I brought that here.
I think you did. Yeah, it looks very familiar. Yeah, it's some good ass fucking wine.
Chasson Montrachet.
Good ass wine, Mr. Super Athlete.
There you go.
That's a real one.
Yeah,
Wow.
shit.
There's some real super athletes we go listen.
He's an
I don't
avatar.
give a fuck what kind of steroids you take. You ain't never gonna look like that.
Never.
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 Like there's human beings that have just the most unfathomable physical advantages.
Yeah, it's
you
just,
know?
it's ridiculous.
Like LeBron James would have like an unfathomable physical advantage over someone who would have an unfathomable physical advantage over you.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I did a
that's-
thing. I asked the guy who follows this, Jimmy Burke, about LeBron James. I
Jimmy
called him up
Burke.
and I left him one message. I said, "Jim, and I want you to be honest and don't insult me. At what age did LeBron James surpass me as an athlete? And be careful with your fucking answer."
He said
because
8.
because I'm a proud man. I'm
Did
a
he say
proud man,
8?
and I'll kick your fucking ass. I hung up the phone. I got a very thoughtful dissertation, and I just got this. 12 years old, and there's no question about that. 12. By the time he was 14, he's 6'4", 235, best player in the country. You were not that. You're not even close to that.
He was 14.
Yeah.
He was 6'4".
Yeah, I think he was 6'4". Look at him. Yeah, he's a freak. Yeah, there you go.
Look at the size of him.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's 6'9", 265. And I sat next to Carlos
Oh, my
Boozer,
God.
who played with him, and they're the same size. And he goes, he's just a step faster than everybody as well, and just ridiculously strong.
Well, see, a guy like that, if he was fighting, everybody would be fucked.
Of course.
They're lucky.
Yeah.
They are goddamn lucky there's that much money in basketball.
That's right. He's
That
incredibly
LeBron
fast
James
and
got
everything
into that. And people go, well, you know what, man? Some things that make a great
Look at him.
basketball
There you go.
player wouldn't necessarily make you a great fighter. Listen to me. Save it. That guy's gonna beat your fucking ass.
Yeah.
He's a winner.
Yes.
There's just a certain level of winners that like he'd do whatever the fuck he wants.
Whatever he wants.
Bo Jackson could have done
Same thing.
whatever the fuck he
I worked
wanted.
with Bo Jackson for a week.
Did you?
Yes, I did. And he was, and I said, "Oh, what do you weigh?" He was in a white T-shirt, and I was looking at the thickness of his fingers. You know me, I obsess because I'm basically a gay man. So I was looking at his hands. I grabbed his hands. It was just this giant meat, and I said, "What do you weigh?" He goes, He said, "I remember." It was so weird. He was so specific. He said, "I'm 6'1.5", 240 pounds, 245 pounds." And he was the same size when he played, and he never has lifted weights in his life, ever. And he didn't lift weights when he played. He would just, as in his words, I'd just strap it on, and I'd hear the other team going, Bo's in the game, Bo's in the game. But you have to also understand that Bo Jackson not only did whatever he wanted to you on the football field, faster than everybody at 245 and stronger, he was also was he not an MVP in baseball?
All-Star at least. I don't know about
All-Star?
MVP, but for sure All-Star, yeah.
That's unheard of. Deion Sanders played both ways, but there's no one like Bo Jackson.
Freak.
That's crazy. throwing BBs, throwing fucking ropes from center field. I mean, a whole different kind of guy.
And one tackle, one hip injury.
That's right.
Changed all that shit.
Well, his hip started to die. It was some kind of necritis in his bone or something like that.
It's from getting hit. There was a very famous hit that he got tackled. You could see like the impact that it has on his hips when he goes down. At least am I remembering that correctly? There was a video of it, right? Yeah, you see the injury, and it's like
just a ridiculous athlete.
And still came back and was smashing home runs with a fake hip. Came back and played baseball. Just couldn't really run anymore, you know?
Just a different kind of guy.
I wonder if they could fix that hip now. You know, you think about what his hip was then and what his hip is now. Like,
well, I think you'd have to generate
tissue.
tissue. So I don't know if we're there yet, but we're getting close.
What I mean is like the artificial hips. I wonder if those are better now. I don't know.
Did you read a book called Sapiens? I sent you, probably not, but Yuval Harari. Everybody should read it. It's an amazing book. And it's a brief history of mankind, but it brings us to present day. And he also wrote another book called Homo Deus, I think.
When did you send this to me?
I sent you a screenshot. I said, you got to read this book. But,
okay.
But he talks about where we're headed technologically. He's really done the research. I mean, really looking honestly at what
medical research,
what to expect in the next 30 years.
What does he say?
Well, I mean, you know, not only are we going to live much longer if you have the money, but the real question he ends the book with in a way is, we have to decide as human beings, for the first time in our history, we can control our own evolution. So we have to ask ourselves what we want to become. That's a really big responsibility. What do you want to become? What do we want to become? Because that question can be answered. We will have the technology to answer that question. And it can get silly where you can say we could splice our genes with a lion or with a gorilla, but more importantly, we'll be able to splice our genes with synthetic biology and become but it's a very heavy question. What do you if you want to live forever, if you become what he called, I think it was amoral, or there's a different word for it.
People are gonna get mad at you for fucking 50-year-olds. Like they don't know anything yet. God, how could you fuck a 50-year-old? You'd be like 1,000 years old.
I know.
You'd be so smart and so wise. People go, you know how gross you are? You're fucking someone who's 50 years old. Like as a human, we figured, look, we only think of ourselves as like, oh, you should have your shit together by 50 because we know we only live to be 100. But the reality is most people don't get their shit together, period.
Yeah.
Like it's a race that nobody's winning.
Yes.
But we all know that if we had an infinite amount of time, we would keep getting better at getting our shit together. You would not be who you were yesterday, and hopefully you'd be much better than you were a year ago.
But I think about something different. Like,
if that's the case, though, but if you get to 900 years old, are you still allowed to bang 50-year-olds? Like, what if they
she's a fucking kid, bro.
I mean, when is it okay? I mean, if she's super hot.
Well, vampires fuck like 30-year-olds.
Right, but we're talking about people, bro. Well, we're talking about like
apparently not if we can live that long.
No, if they figure out medical science, and this is not outside the realm of possibility. If they can regenerate tissue and use stem cells to rejuvenate your body, and you live 900 fucking years old, are you allowed to bang 50-year-olds, or are you gross?
Well, it takes, but then actually, what I think the answer is, it takes time, and it flips it on its head. I mean, time no longer has a consequence because there's not. You don't really have limitations. The biggest thing about human beings, right, is that we have limitations. We know we're going to die. That's the fundamental difference between sort of the idea of a robot being just like a human. We are defined by our limitations.
Right, but you know why they bring the draft around and try to get young people to get drafted. They don't want to go after 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds because it won't work.
Right.
Like, I wonder if it gets to a certain age. I wonder if you live to a certain age and like cults just don't work anymore. I wonder if it only works up until you're like 50 or 60 or 70. But if people live forever, it would be just like telling Santa Claus to like a little kid. Like you tell Santa Claus to your 5-year-old, they're like, whoa, Santa Claus is real. Yeah. You tell Santa Claus to a 15-year-old, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? The same kid would be like, Dad, you're retarded. Like, stop this.
It depends on how whether you or not you've broadened your understanding. There are a lot of old people that are not.
But if you're a cult leader and you're 900 years old and you're just banging all these 50-year-old ladies, you're an asshole. They're like little kids still.
Maybe. Well, 50-year-olds are not going to look like 50-year-olds. They're going to look like us.
Really hot. But my point is, like, they're still going to be naive.
Yeah.
They still put fucking holy water on themselves. Yep. They still do, there's going to be like weird shit.
But they'll be attracted to that 900-year-old because you'll be full of wisdom.
Plus, you'll be like a sorcerer.
Yeah.
What kind of power you to have if you're 900 years old?
Well, as you get older, the mystery of life breaks down. You remember when you're younger and you'd see somebody who's really good at something, you're like, God, they're a genius. And then you kind of you get to a certain feelings where you get good at something or you just start to, you know, you do it enough and you go, there's a certain formula to success. Like sometimes like to be really good at something, there's a mindset for competition, but to be really good at something also just requires a shitload of repetition and good tutelage.
There's
like
a lot
good
of that.
coaching.
A lot of focus. And one of the things that you recognize in people when you see enough people that are like really truly awesome at something. You see enough of them, you start to recognize this like thing. Like I especially can see it in musicians because I have zero talent. Because I have zero musical talent whatsoever.
Right.
Zero.
Have you ever tried to actually hold a tune? You ever try to just try this? Try to sing. All serious. Don't laugh.
No.
Try to sing. Just look at me. It's embarrassing, but do it. Try to sing. I want you to sing "Silent Night, Holy Night." Try to hit it. Then do it right, and then I'm going to try it. It's so hard.
So nervous.
It's so vulnerable. I'm asking you to sing 2 verses.
But isn't it funny that like making noises with your mouth is
vulnerable.
very vulnerable? Silent night, holy night.
That's not bad.
All is calm.
Can you not be that whispery? Can you get a little power?
All is bright.
There you go. There you go.
Down, young virgin mother and child. What's the rest?
I don't know.
Something in heavenly peace.
Holy infant, so tender and mild.
Holy infant, so tender and mild.
I forgot already.
Sleep.
We have to go up. Heavenly peace.
I went immediately to the douchebag singer voice, the whispery.
I know you did,
voice.
but you know what you
Tried
had.
to
I
Bruce
think you were
Springsteen
on
it.
tune though. I think he was tuned, wasn't he, Jamie?
Tuner and key. Is that going key or tune?
Don't trust anybody who talks to you like that. Listen to me, ladies.
That's my joke where I do that. I talk about that. I go, you can say nice dress, just don't whisper it. That's where it's creepy.
That's funny.
That's one of my. I was like, there's certain things you can't whisper in life. Like you can be like, your daughter is so cute. But if you're like, your daughter is so cute, it's creepy.
The creepy voice is recognized, but you know what? You know what is a fucking confusing ass voice? Is the scary voice. You know, the scary voice, like next on Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Like anybody talk, like any scary monster, like, and then they went down the dark, dark road.
Yeah.
Like what?
Those people who have that kind of
Scary voice.
this summer.
And here's another one that doesn't work.
Hell just got on my water.
All the hottest girls. All the hottest dancing. Like that kind of like hot and sexy.
Those are those old commercials, remember? And
Right, but there's like a weird rhythm to the way they're talking. It's like they're establishing very clear parameters for vocabulary. Oh, the hottest girls. There's not going to be some soliloquies on your interpretation of consciousness as you know it versus the subjective view of the universe. No. It's all the hottest girls. All the hottest dancing. It's like you have these like really short sentences.
well, so
without
we're
much
really in
depth.
tune. We're in tune with those rhythms.
Right. Those girls are saying, look, to cut the bullshit, we're down to fuck. We got fake tits and we're drunk. That's what they're saying with that voice. Like that's what that voice is.
Did you ever hear the experiment they did where they played doctors? So they took different doctors and some had been sued a lot, and then they just took the doctors at bedside. They recorded them speaking, and they took out the words so you could only hear the tone of their voice. And people said, "I don't like that guy." And they didn't even know what they were saying. They said, "I don't like that guy." And without almost, like most of them chose the doctors that had been sued. And it turned out that they had a dominant tone. So that their tone and the sound of their voice was what people objected to. And because their bedside manner was, this is out of Malcolm Gladwell's book, their bedside manner was dominant. They weren't sort of understanding and listening. They were rather telling the patient something. Those were the doctors, regardless of their errors or what they did. That had nothing to do with their degrees. Didn't even have to do with what they did. Those were the ones that got sued for malpractice.
Yeah, now I remember. That's from Blink, right?
Yes, I think it's from Blink.
Blink's a great book.
Yeah, it is.
It's great. And it's a great audio book, too. I got that one on audio book.
I listened to it on audio.
Whew, it's very
I
important.
always listen to shit on audio. I listen to Sapiens on audio.
It's very
'cause
good.
I drive.
Yeah, it's a very good way to, I like podcasts, but I like to mix it up. It's like I don't want to only watch documentaries. I like watching fiction too. I like to mix things up with what I take in and what I view. But I think that like audio books in particular, it's a great way to utilize like wasted time.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Instead of listening to music, I listen to a whole course on Nietzsche.
How crazy was that story in Blink about the artwork where they found this old statue and this art expert looked at it for a second and went, "It's fake. How much did you pay
remember
for
what
it?
came to his
Bring
mind?
it back."
Remember the word that came to his mind?
What did he say?
Fascinating. He knew it was fake because Nope, close.
What was
It was supposed to be a statue that was buried for 3,000 years, a kudos,
Right.
like a fully formed. Kudos is young boy in Greek, so it's a fully formed like statue, which is near Thessaloniki or something. And they tested the rock. The marble came from a quarry near there. They even tested the mold, which actually turned out to be something they put on potatoes, but the mold seemed legit and all that stuff. But the minute he saw it, he said, "Can you get your money back?"
Yeah.
This is a fake, and he didn't know why, but the first word that came to mind was fresh.
Fresh.
Kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, it makes
That's not what you're
sense.
supposed to hear.
But isn't it crazy that he was right?
Yeah.
That you could just see, like for you and I, it would be like, wow, crazy statue. You know what I mean? we wouldn't have, but there's certain things that I'm sure you could see. You know,
Sure.
like there's certain things. Like here's one that I see all the time. I see when people are about to spin. From all my years of Taekwondo, there's like a little simple dip that people go. He's looking. To
I've heard you call that a lot.
all the time because you see once you learn it when you're a little kid because you've been kicked in the head a few times.
Yep.
Like it becomes a part of your life.
Pattern
So
recognition.
You see this little thing. Oh, he's kind of spin. He's trying to spin. You know, and you see it. Whereas a regular person was like, "How the fuck are you seeing that?" Well, I've seen it because people have hit me.
Yeah.
Don't get hit by that.
Yeah.
Like when you see that move, like, oh, get out of there.
Yeah. Well, one of the wealthiest guys, my friend who made $1 billion more, his buddy is worth some crazy amount of money. And said, "What's your secret?" And he said, "Mirrors and windows." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I can tell if somebody's going to pay me back. I can tell if somebody's a good investment or not." And he said, "Well, how?" And he goes, "You either got windows or you got mirrors for eyes. And if you got mirrors for eyes, you can go fuck yourself. If you got windows, I'm going to lend you money." And that's an instinct he would just pick up on. He could
That's
pick up
so
on
real.
sincerity, and he could pick up on whether or not you were a phony.
You know, that's a real problem with communicating with people in nonverbal ways, in non-face-to-face ways.
Yeah.
It's a real problem with like texting and stuff like that. You're not looking into the person. Like I think it changes the way we talk to each other. It changes interactions, and I think most of the problem that people have most of the time with each other is not talking. Like today, and especially not talking enough, looking at each other in the eyes.
That's exactly
and
right.
figuring out like if maybe someone's right and maybe you're wrong about something, you got to talk to them and you go, okay, well, what did you think I was supposed to do? And I did that. Okay, and what time were you supposed to be there? What time did we say? I thought we said this. And you can try to figure it out. Well, you're looking at each other.
Right.
You know, when someone could say, "Look, man, I was really bummed out. You know, it was this really important thing. You were supposed to pick me up." And then you could work it out. You could look at each other and work it out. But when you go through these series of text messages, I've had text message discussions with people like, "Hey, man, I can't do this. Like, let's just talk. Can we just talk? Because this is crazy. Because I don't know what your face is making when you're making this statement. Like, you're saying something and it's not entirely accurate. And I'm trying to figure out what the fuck your face looks like. Are you laughing? Is this LOL?
Right.
Can we look at each other? Because I bet we could work this shit out. You know,
that is the problem with reading sometimes about something and thinking you're getting the whole picture. What I like about Thaddeus Russell is that his book, A Renegade History of the United States, I think it's called, he actually takes a look at things that I've never heard. I was a history major, and historians tend to be pretty conservative, stodgy people, right? They're not. Well, your average college professor is a pretty conservative guy, even though he might be very left wing. They're conservative people. They're not. You're not going to find them at an orgy or usually or various things, and especially with historians. And when they write history, they always write it from this really stodgy kind of. You hear about the events. You actually don't hear about what it was like in the brothels. You don't hear about what it smelled like in the bars. You don't hear about the noise. You don't hear about things that actually have an effect on people. Who were the criminals? How safe were the streets? Where were the prostitutes? Who was actually getting laid? Was there a lot of black and white sex that went on during the Revolutionary War era, which apparently there was? What about dancing? Were the Irish
there's a
missing?
lot of dirty white ladies that got some dark dick in.
I can only hope. I can
Woo!
only hope.
It's the ultimate fuck you to your dad.
Yes, it is.
Can you imagine?
Yes, it is.
How many chicks just fucking couldn't wait?
I know. As soon as the veil was lifted,
Yeah.
as they say.
My dad is fighting to keep you a slave. And I'm fighting to suck your dick. Could you imagine?
Shit. Sounds like the title
Some
of
hot, dirty white girl with freckles.
Apparently there was a lot of that. Because what they would do is the Irish would come in, they were indentured servants, then you had the black slaves, and they'd dance. They would go, there'd be like these speakeasies, and everybody would mingle. It'd be late at night, beautiful black women, and the black and the white dudes be like, dude, these girls are hot, and there was mixing and everything else, and there was all kinds of shit like that. Remember, slavery was being talked about as a great moral evil really back when this country was founded. What really one of the things they say that kept slavery going another 100 years was the cotton gin, was the fact that Eli Whitney invented a machine that made it fucking really, really easy to separate the seed from the cotton. And as a result, this guy comes up with a great invention, and as a result, they were like, whoa, we got all this free labor down here. I'm not freeing slaves. This shit is white gold. I can send it to Europe, and there's an insatiable demand for my cotton. Fuck that. I'm not going to have my whole economy's built on the fact that I got all this free labor and I'm making a fortune. So, a lot of historians kind of talk about how Eli Whitney invented a machine that was really efficient, but might have been responsible for keeping an entire group of people in slavery for.
That is so crazy to think about.
Like you came up with an idea.
Before he came up with the cotton gin, most of the clothes were made out of hemp.
Mm-hmm.
They used to use hemp fiber for everything, and apparently it's way better than cotton.
It's stronger for sure,
way
right?
stronger. Todd McCormick, do you remember my friend Todd McCormick? He had this stalk of hemp in his house, and it was like from a hemp tree, and it's like it's from another planet. It doesn't seem like it's a real thing.
It's why?
Really hard, but it's really light. Like it's light, like balsa wood, but it's hard like oak. Like it's weird.
It's cool.
And he was explaining it to me, and he knows way more about weed than I do, but he was like, dude, it's an alien planet. It's an alien plant, rather.
It's a very hardy weed, right?
It's an alien plant. It's like no other plant. It has all the essential amino acids. You get essential oils from it. It has protein in it, a very high protein content. Like you can eat hemp seeds are great for you. They're really healthy. And you can make clothing out of it. You can make fuel out of it, hemp fuel. Henry Ford made the first fenders on the first Model T out of hemp fibers.
Really?
Yeah. There's a video of him hitting them with a hammer, and the hammer bounces off these hemp fenders. Wow. They're far more durable than steel.
That's crazy.
It's an insane fiber, man. It doesn't make any sense. It literally is like no other fiber on the planet. It's a really complex fiber. And it's illegal.
You can grow hemp, can't you? You can grow hemp. You just can't grow the female plant.
And the government is doing their best to make CBDs being regulated by the FDA. They're all trying to stop CBD. There's people that are trying to stop CBD. It doesn't even have a psychoactive effect on you.
Well, the guy who invented I don't know if he invented the dark web, but the Silk Road guy, Ulbricht.
Yeah, I got to point this out.
Yeah.
This is really important, though, before I forget. The CBD oil, folks. I'm reading a lot of reports online of people testing CBD, and it tests positive for THC. Greg Fitzsimmons talked about this. He said that he tried CBD oil and it got him high. I don't know what he used, which company he used, but the studies that I've read where people have actually got them tested, there is THC in some of them. So you got to be careful, like especially if you have some UPS job or somewhere that I don't know if UPS tests
or an athletic competition,
someplace where they test your piss. If you take CBD oil for pain and inflammation, you got to really make sure you trust the sources, because I guess apparently it can have THC in it. Didn't you point that out?
I don't know if I did, but I've seen that same thing in the last 2 weeks.
I think you're the one who told me about it first. Yeah, it's not just because we were talking about Greg. Like Greg gets high off CBD oil. I'm like maybe it's just like a super lightweight. But I don't think so.
Maybe.
I think there's some weed in some of them.
Greg might just be super sensitive.
He loves the weed.
Yeah.
I think if you just give him regular CBD oil, I bet he'd be fine.
It might not even just be the CBD oil. I've noticed some head shops in states that it's not recreationally available. They're selling it in the same form as dabs and concentrates, and you smoke the CBD the same way you would smoke that heavy concentrated shit.
Whoa.
And that crazy like dab rig with a hot torch. And,
So you smoke CBD oil that doesn't get you high in the dab rig.
yeah, and that I don't
And
know
then
if
you
that's
just-
what it is. But
Somebody gave me
all your
CBD oil to
arthritis.
sleep better. It didn't work.
Didn't?
I'll tell you what works. Smoking weed.
You have a hard time sleeping?
Yeah.
What?
Not anymore so much, but you know, I always worry.
Yeah, that'll do it.
You know,
Yeah.
I worry that you just go. It's interesting. Sometimes I feel guilty about being so lucky. I get into my really soft bed and I do what I love, and I'm like, when is the other foot going to drop here?
If you really stop and think about how lucky you are in comparison to the vast majority of human beings on the earth,
it's ridiculous. What?
Yeah. I have zero tolerance for people that talk about how hard things are today. Like, they're complicated today.
Yeah.
They're not hard. It's complicated. It's
Yeah,
way more
man.
complicated. Of course, there are hard moments. No one's denying your pain and your hard moments.
But if you get a cut on your hand, you're not going to get gangrene.
yeah, it's just way easier.
There are little
There's
things.
just
You don't have to
so
worry
much-
about the pox.
Yeah, there's so much more today. It's this is a fucking crazy time, and it's still the thing about this time is the good thing about it is we're overpopulated, we're crazy, the system we're operating on doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you could still go into the woods at any moment. Like, there's a place where you can go right now where you can go in the woods. Like, you can go to Big Bear and you just go for a hike.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're in the forest. Like, oh, this shit's still real. This is still here too.
Right.
You know, life is crazy and life's bizarre, but we haven't completely turned the whole world into a city.
That's true.
Like, guess what, bitch? That's coming.
Yeah.
If you look how goddamn big Los Angeles is, how
crazy.
much of it is covered in concrete and streets, and then the streets go off everywhere like veins. And oh, by the way, 200 years ago, no streets. They weren't there.
But aren't wildernesses expanding in this country? Is that wrong?
I do not think that wildernesses are expanding.
There's more grazing land and stuff. I don't know. I mean, we're definitely suffering from urban sprawl, but I was surprised to see how little, like the percentage of the continental United States that's actually inhabited, that actually has houses and on it, was really small. It surprised the shit
small.
out of me.
Yeah, it's pretty small. Super. It's
It's like
crazy how
6%
concentrated
or
it is
something.
too.
Yeah.
In these little areas. But like these people that live in these small towns, like all across the country, that is a big reason also why Trump won. They just felt totally unrepresented by all the people that live on the sides.
I also think it's because they had, I think 50% of Americans have, what, $500 in their bank account?
Something crazy. I think it might be less than that.
Right,
I think it's $400.
Well, if it's $400, you think about that. So that's why I get mad when people characterize. I don't like Trump, but I never liked when people characterized all Trump supporters as racist, etc. I thought it was unfair because I think the majority of people want to live in some dignity. And they had Obama, 8 years of Obama, say what you will, but their lives didn't change for a lot of reasons. I don't think Obama's to blame. There's a lot of reasons. Then along comes Hillary speaking the same exact language. So if you're going to blame people for saying, wait, under 8 years, I still only have $400 in my pocket. Here comes a woman who's speaking the same language. Oh, and by the way, there's a lot of rumors about her being corrupt. I have nothing to lose. I'm going to try that other guy.
Did you see what Donna Brazile wrote about one of the reasons why she came out with her book? It was after Seth Rich got murdered. She called him a patriot.
Wow. I didn't know Seth Rich got. Oh, that's right.
That was that guy who worked for the DNC. That was a Bernie Sanders supporter. The WikiLeaks has alluded to the fact that he leaked them information. He got shot in front of his house.
Wow.
And it became this big conspiracy theory where people would mock you for saying it was a conspiracy, and then Hannity ran with it. And so it became clearly, that for a lot of people, the Seth Rich conspiracy theory that it was nonsense. Nobody knows what happened to that guy, though. He was murdered. He had his watch on. He had his phone with him. He had his wallet on him. Nobody took anything from him. They shot him at 4 o'clock in the morning. Who knows what happened? But when WikiLeaks starts saying that you gave them information and that there's consequences to you giving them information, one of two things is happening. Either WikiLeaks has decided all of a sudden to start lying and making things up about people, or two, they were misinformed and someone was pretending to be this guy and sending them information. It's always possible if they didn't meet face to face. Or three, they're telling you something you didn't know, that this guy who was just shot and murdered was leaking information about the DNC, and how the DNC was corrupted by the Hillary Clinton group, which is what Donna Brazile is saying in her book. And that this guy released that and showed how the primaries were rigged against Bernie Sanders, and that Hillary, Ari was sending me excerpts from it the other day. He's like, dude, Donna Brazile was saying that Hillary was in control of the DNC before the primaries.
So is the implication that Hillary might have had something to do with his murder?
That's the implication.
Problem is that the information was already out.
Right,
wasn't
but
it?
maybe he had more, and maybe they were punishing him to stop other people from doing the same thing. Maybe other people had more information. You know, I don't know if it's true, but there was another guy that disappeared recently. This is a guy who had dirt on the Clintons. Some guy vanished. This is like really, really recent. Like, see if you can find that one. Some guy, just type in Google Clinton dirt, and this is like from Newsweek. So there's people have vanished, and I don't know how many of them have been murdered. People suicide themselves. I don't know how many of them actually suicide themselves.
Right.
But it could. Let's just say 1 out of 10, just 1 out of 10 was an actual murder.
Right.
This guy, academic at the heart of Clinton dirt campaign, vanishes.
What?
Leaving trail of questions. This is really recently. See, they figured out when you kill people,
This might be
it's
the
way
Russians
harder.
too.
Maybe, could
You
be.
know, usually
when you kill people, it's like, God damn, how'd this body get here? But when people just vanish,
Damn.
they just vanish. Poof.
That's crazy.
They
He just
vanish.
disappeared. Where's Eddie when I need him? Where's
Oh,
Mr.
he'd be
Bravo when I
going
need him?
Crazy. He'd be going crazy about that one.
Yeah, but
He loves
Eddie's
a good one.
conspiracies
Illuminati
turn
one.
in on themselves because he'd be like, he's disappeared, but he's not really. What if he's not really dead? What
That could be
if?
that. Eddie, he loves himself a conspiracy. He gets so excited.
Yeah, I know.
It's like watching a guy
Well, it gives
who's
him a
super
community,
into
too.
sports. Like a dude who's super into sports. You know, like he fucking, you want to talk
All
to
I'm
Lee Harvey
saying,
Oswald
all I'm
with him?
saying is it's a little weird.
Well, you know what I tried to, someone was like, well, why does he enjoy conspiracies? I said, well, first of all, he enjoys them. Like, enjoy what you like. But also, Eddie's always been really good at, like, shutting down people not believing in his ideas with jiu-jitsu. Because
Oh,
Eddie has, like, revolutionary jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, his jiu-jitsu. Like
Really
his,
creative.
His rubber guard setups and all the different things, the paths that he fixed a lot of paths in traditional jiu-jitsu. He changed a lot of things and did some things his way. And when he would describe it to me, I was like, oh, this is a guy who, like, has an idea how to do things. And when people are opposing him, he's like, no, I'm going to shut that down and move over here. So
That's interesting. So his brain works that way.
right. So when someone comes at him with an idea, he has an idea and he's going to try to get that idea through. And when you come at him with some weak attacks on that idea and just expect that he's going to relinquish his hold on the idea, he's like, no, bitch, this don't make no sense. No, you don't have any information. It's going to take someone giving him real, honest to goodness, impossible to deny information that he's going to believe in any of the conspiracies that he believes in being false.
Or it's going to take somebody to explain to him that his feelings control his thinking.
That is true. But there have been conspiracies that have successfully been executed, which makes this whole thing way more confusing.
Sure.
It's like, which one of these were real? To say that all conspiracies are bullshit, you are a victim of, like, some reverse racism.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm usually skeptical of conspiracies, especially government conspiracies, because government is notoriously so completely out of sync and not efficient enough. And certainly there are so many different competing interests within government, just within an administration.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to undermine each other, and that's the history. And it was set up that way. And even if you talk about faking the moon landing, you'd have to have about 1,000, maybe 2,000 people to keep a secret. That's impossible.
not necessarily the case if you just had people thinking on a need-to-know basis with everything compartmentalized. Like, this guy's responsible for making the O-rings. This guy's responsible for making the jets.
It works. I know nothing
I don't know
about
how it works either, but I do know that you're talking about, if you were trying to fake the moon landing, one of the things that would be much easier is during the Nixon administration, they were getting used to faking things. Watergate was going on. You know,
But they all got found out, though, you know, because somebody talks.
You're just starting to develop the kind of special effects abilities where you can sort of recreate space scenes, like 2001. That was the big conspiracy theorist dream, was that somehow or another, like, there would be, like, some irrefutable proof that Stanley Kubrick was the one who worked on the moon landing. That was like, if I had found that, I'd be like coming in my pants, like, yes.
But Eddie never
Kubrick.
acknowledges that the same impulse that drives him, which is really to find the truth and to be skeptical of people's claims and even evidence that's been written down.
Yeah.
Human beings have always, for the most part, unless there's something wrong with you, wanted to be in the know.
Right.
I don't know anyone who doesn't want to know the truth. I don't know anybody who doesn't want to know, who likes being deceived. And so So that's why it's almost impossible to keep a secret long term in government.
Well, also,
because somebody
here's
always
another
talks.
thing on the other side of it. Here's one of the reasons why the whole conspiracy thing is so attractive to people. Because there's a reward chain built into the human psyche of solving a problem that's presented in front of you that could potentially be dangerous. It's a reward chain. And this
100%.
reward chain gets acted upon even if you're talking about nonsense. Even if this is like some Area 51, UFO body fucking, whatever it is. Roswell, New Mexico, the guy who was there, the general, talked to my grandma.
Yeah.
He told me about the coffins, 4-foot-tall coffins. They were little alien babies. They took them to the back of the hearse. They had them embalmed, and my aunt saw it, and they killed her in the forest. Stop.
I know.
I can't.
But when you have an explanation, you don't feel as unsafe.
Yes.
See, if I tell you that there are random things that happen, for example, the shooter in Las Vegas, he was 64 and there were no signs. He was very controlling. If you look at, he's a bit of a sociopath. He had this obsession with control. But if I just tell you that sometimes people wig the fuck out and they just want to shoot a bunch of people, that's not appropriate. Because then
also on
that means I have
anti-anxiety medication.
Sure, but I'm sure. But there's also like when you say that stuff, it's like now what you're saying is I have no real way to protect myself.
Yeah.
Even if I carry a gun, take all my vitamins, wear my seatbelt, there's always some crazy shit I didn't think about. It's called fate.
The people I've talked to that understand psych medicines, I've talked to some psychiatrists I've had on the podcast.
I listened to Kelly Brogan talk about
Kelly
this.
Brogan talked about it quite extensively. One of the things that her and many other psychiatrists brought up is the dissociative properties of a lot of these psych medicines. That someone might have a horrible idea in their head, but the repercussions of it are real. Like acting on it feels real. Wow. But as soon as you have some sort of heavy dissociative psych medicine, it's not even real. Like you don't care anymore. You're like blah blah blah.
You're like
blah, blah.
watching yourself in a movie or something.
You're on something that dulls all the highs and the lows. It puts you in this weird state where it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to just kill these people. Like I don't know whether or not you could make the leap from being a person who could never kill somebody to being a person who doesn't have a problem with killing somebody. I don't know if that's true. I mean, maybe that's a chasm too far to cross. But I guarantee you, if you're the type of person that is having some horrible thoughts about like being aggressive to people, and then someone puts you on something that makes you like, I don't give a fuck. Like it's gonna. If you're who knows what the right chemical is too, right? Like if they give you the wrong one, maybe it'll switch you one way, or the right one, it'll turn you the other way, or maybe we should add some Abilify into the mix. Maybe we should throw some of this in there. This is an antipsychotic to help you all even out.
Do you know you can have a lesion on your brain the size of the head of a pin? You can have a lesion, and if it's in the right, there's a specific area of the brain where it can be a tiny lesion that you can't see really, barely with the naked eye, and it can render you a homicidal maniac.
That's my problem. Fighting off the lesion.
I got lesions in my brain.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What is it called? What's the lesion?
I don't know. I could look it up for you, but it's by. But you can. Where I heard it was in a lecture by Daniel Robinson, who was a professor at Oxford and Georgetown, and the smartest man on the planet.
Well, that's why you have to really be careful when you're punching people in the head, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's why it causes. Well, so the guy who
does that make sense?
Remember the guy who captured the 13-year-old girl, not Elizabeth Smart, but the other one. He had 2 children with her, kept her for 18 years, and she escaped finally.
Yes, that was the guy that was, where'd that take place?
He and his wife. It was somewhere in I think Seattle or something. I don't know where it was.
He had them in the basement, right?
He had them in the backyard, in a shed, in a sealed-off shed, and then they lived in the backyard with their daughters until, literally she was 18. They would go out once in a while. It was real Stockholm Syndrome shit.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
Yeah, he got her pregnant at 13, and it was just a terrible story.
This is what I was going to tell you about earlier. Did you see the footage where they're selling slaves in Libya? Is it Libya or is it Iraq? It's Libya. Yeah. There was maybe it's in Iraq too. Yeah. But it was Libya, and there was I forget who the title. It was USA Today that had an editorial that said thanks Hillary Clinton. Because Hillary Clinton, apparently, they're blaming her decisions on the reason why we went into Libya and dethroned Muammar Gaddafi. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, you would know maybe more than most. But video of migrants sold in apparent slave auction in Libya provokes outrage worldwide. It's disturbing, man. When you watch it, they got guns to these dudes' heads, all these photos. I retweeted it. If you want to go to my Instagram, you can see some of the pictures of it. But they have like Libya is a failed state now.
Yes.
And it's goddamn terrifying.
In
2017.
Look at that. In 1970, my father just told a story at Thanksgiving, and he was talking about how Dubai and Abu Dhabi have become these incredible countries.
Yeah.
And when he was first there in 1970, 1971, I don't know what it was, somebody said, "You see that woman over there?" And she was a black woman. She was from Africa somewhere. And my father said, "Yes." And he goes, "That's a slave." Oh. And that was in Dubai, I believe, back in the day. I'm sorry to anybody from Dubai. I know you guys have come a very long way, but slavery was order of the day in a lot of countries. I'm not just picking on you.
In a lot of countries.
In a lot of countries. It was the order of the day. I mean, the idea that slavery would no longer be a case, the idea that this would be outrageous to the world in 1940 would be, certainly in 1910 or something, would have been like, what? No, it'll always go on. Slavery is the way of life. I mean,
I think though today with the ability to film slave auctions on your cell phone and then stream that shit on
I also think it's
AOL.com or whatever this is.
The more you learn about people and how similar we all are, and how Sam Harris had a really interesting TED talk about this, about the idea that you have to be able to have a conversation about what is the most optimal way to live for a human being. What is the most optimal? Is it true that women are at their best when having to wear a full burqa in 120-degree heat? That's a good question. And by the way, are all opinions welcome at the table? Are you interested, I'm quoting Sam here, but are you interested in the Taliban's point of view on physics? No. And does someone who does for that matter, and he talks about himself, is his point of view on string theory, which he knows nothing about, as valid as somebody who studies string theory? No. But there's a tendency to kind of go, well, that's your culture, and I'm not going to get involved in it, even though it might seem brutal by my standards. You hear this a lot with like the Aztecs and human sacrifice. Yeah. And it's very taboo to talk about how it was barbaric because, that was them.
Do you remember you and me and Steven Rinella had a conversation about that? Rinella literally didn't believe me when I told him they sacrificed 80,000. Is that the number? What was the number when they sacrificed the
people who are not of the sun?
Pyramid of Teotihuacan, Temple of Teotihuacan. Is that how you say it? Teotihuacan. But apparently they sacrificed some fucking insane number of slaves. Yeah. So it's so crazy that if you tell a rational person like Steve Rinella, he's like, what? That can't be true. Until you go and read about it and you go, how horrible were people then?
Yeah.
They could sacrifice, I want to say it was 80,000 people. I think that was the number.
The sheer numbers, I don't know. I mean, that's a crazy number.
But it's like in a couple of days.
Yeah.
All the people that worked on the temple, apparently after it was over, they just sacrificed them.
Wow.
Just imagine
the Aztecs,
the world.
One of the things they say is Cortez was able to conquer the Aztecs a lot more easily because the Aztecs had neighbors that fucking hated them, because the Aztecs would go in and basically if you weren't an Aztec, which means a person of the sun, you'd get sacrificed. So their neighbors were like, "Oh, you Spanish guys, you 500 guys, really? We'll help you 100%. Those we hate them." So
have you been to Chichen Itza?
No,
dude. There's a fucking platform in Chichen Itza where the Mayans used to behead people. They used to have the sacrifice. There's this like thing. It's like a demon that's lying on its back, and they would sacrifice the people. And the stomach area where they sacrifice people was kind of grooved out from all the bodies they've been slicing on it.
Damn. Well, that's why.
Oh my God, I'm wrong. It's way more. As high as estimates, the number of persons sacrificed in central Mexico in the 15th century was as high as 250,000 per year. But go to the construction of temple. I don't know how to say it.
I know this is a very contentious number, by the way.
Of course it is.
So a lot of people are like bullshit, and there's a lot of historians that did the
trying to publish my book, bro. I'm jacking it up 100,000. I mean, if I was a historian, I was like, 40 million people died. On the shores.
Although the whole male population was trained to be warriors, it was
What is the, just Google 80,000 Aztecs sacrifice temple of, I don't know how to say the word. Teotihuacan. I forget how do you say it, but I believe what they did was they built this fucking spectacular structure and then killed everybody who worked on it. They just killed the Union.
Kind of like El Chapo when you'd build a tunnel for him. He's like, can't know where it is. Sorry.
Really? So
Apparently they'd have a party for him. And then hey,
shoot
guys,
him?
thanks for working on the tunnel. We got a little party. A toast of champagne, and here's some lead poisoning as well.
Super, super hammered.
Yeah.
Bring them in hookers and then shoot them in the head while they're sleeping.
You can't have people know. They said that the Soviets would do that, like when you would build a tunnel. Did you ever hear that story about how we figured out that
Temple Mayor? What is this?
Yeah, this is the temple.
This is it? Yeah. How you say that? Make that larger, please. Tino Chitlan. I don't think that's the same one.
That's the 80,000 came up with it.
That's the number of people?
Yep.
Okay. Maybe I've seen it said. Well, I think also one of the things you have to deal with when you're dealing with an English deciphering of really ancient Aztec and Mayan code is that it's phonetic. So like there's sounds that they made that they're trying to replicate with English words, but they weren't really designed for English lettering. You know, I mean, they're designed, they're hieroglyphs. They have the way they wrote and spoke is very, very different than the way we do.
Yeah.
You know, they had like some of the Mayan writing in particular. What does it say there, Jamie?
I was looking for the word thousands in there.
Some of the
Yeah, it doesn't say.
God.
some of the Mayan languages were like images that like Terrence McKenna described it this way. He was like, you have like an eyeball in a picture, and then you'd have a saw, and you'd have the bug, the ant, an ant, and then you'd have the flower, the rose. And that's how you would say, I saw Aunt Rose.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because we just assume that everyone should. What is writing? Writing is some symbols that you make that correspond to certain sounds that we've all agreed in our own personal definitions that we have in societies. We all agreed that this sound means a certain thing.
Yeah.
And we argue the parameters of what that means. Right? And that's why people get super offended when someone says it like words are violence. Okay. Like you're fucking with the real violence.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know what violence is.
You've never been punched in the face.
Yeah, you haven't seen somebody like get sold.
Well, I always
as a slave
say
in
it's so
Libya.
important for young people to understand
Yeah.
the difference between things, and there's a real tendency to equate. For example,
To exaggerate.
You wrote a memo at Google, and it made it an unsafe work environment for women.
And you're Hitler. Now you're Hitler.
Now you're Hitler. And by
Yeah.
the way, crab boats, coal mines, and Navy SEALs, they have a pretty dangerous work environment as well. So let's talk about the fucking difference, because it gets very weird and dangerous and meaningless. And in fact, in my opinion, when you equate everything, when you basically say, you shouted at me, that's assault versus
Yes.
breaking my nose, and we have lots of different examples of that, it does a disservice to people that have suffered real, violence.
You know what I think is going on, man? And I could sum it up in one word. Tribalism. Mm-hmm. There's a natural inclination that we have to form like-minded groups and defend our position to the death.
That's right.
And this is what people are doing. And it's not that you're wrong and he's right or you're wrong. It's that all of us are acting like people trying to protect our team.
That's right.
And it's an incorrect way of behaving. So if you say that like words are violence, like guess what? No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Go fuck yourself too. Was that violent?
This is what I say. I'm talking about this in my stand-up. It's much easier to be full against something. It's really easy to be against it. When you join a team, what happens is you don't have to do the thinking. Let the leader do all the thinking. You got the bullet points. Now, what your job as a soldier is to put down the other team. It's much more difficult. And think about this for young people listening. It's way harder to define what you're for. Defining what you're actually for. Like, so if you're a revolutionary, you want to burn down the whole house. What are you going to replace it with, man? That's really important. And revolutionaries,
that's what they did with Libya.
Revolutionaries
That's
forget that
what
shit
we were
all the
talking
time.
About.
That's right.
Like when they came, they saw he died. Ha ha ha.
Right. You got rid of the bad guy? Cool.
Yeah.
Now what?
Now
What are you replacing it with?
Guess what? Welcome to the power vacuum. You hoping you're going to be dead before this fucking becomes a disaster and a failed state? Well, you're not.
That's my problem when people, and we have a lot of people in our government that look at a problem and go, oh, It's ISIS. What we need to do is get authorization to kill more of them in other places. So what you're talking about is groups that identify as ISIS, and that's going to solve the problem. My problem with that typically is that it goes back to that one of my favorite sayings. It's not what you think. What you think is way less important than how you think. Because a lot of times if you pay attention, you're thinking exactly the way your enemy's thinking. I'm not so sure that that's how you do it. I'm not so sure that bombing and shooting your way out of that problem is the way to go. It might be in some cases. I think you need SEAL Team 6, etc. for certain shitheads. But
you
that
need them
can't
as
be
a
the
line
whole
of defense. Everyone has to know that they're real.
Yeah.
That's like one of the most important things about the elite forces of the government or of our military is that people need to know they're real. You need to know that's real.
Yeah.
Because like there's 100,000, whatever the fuck there are, people right now that are just ready to go. All you have to do is press a button, launch them.
Thank God.
And you need to know
thank
that they're
God
there.
for Tim Kennedy, etc. Okay,
exactly.
Because remember this: you need walls. You need strong walls and men to guard those walls.
You haven't seen enough bad people.
That's right. You don't, because there are the Mongols are out there.
They're out there.
Yeah.
Look at Libya. They're out there.
That's right.
And these people, by the way, that are in the military, they're the only ones that are experiencing it.
Yeah.
You're back here. You're passing judgment on. They're saying, "Hey, there's zombies."
Yes.
Like, hey, well, the fucking world's gone crazy.
Right.
Hey, they're selling slaves in the streets. Like, we need to all know that there are people that are in some really horrible parts of the world right now that can give you valuable information. Doesn't mean we should kill those people. Doesn't mean we should fucking nation build.
No.
But we need to be aware of the landscape.
And keep this in mind, though, too. It's not, that would be hard strength. You need men like, Tim Kennedy, et cetera, those guys who are our protectors, who we can push a button and go, hey, those fucking guys want and there are people out there that want to kill us for sure. But I always think that it's also important to remember that those guys are doing that to protect the softer strengths in our community. The people that are creative, the people that are inventing. You can't have a doctor working on a cure for cancer and have the Mongols come over and smash all his fucking beakers.
Exactly.
That's why you need those. So you need both.
But the problem is you do need both. And the people on one side don't want to recognize the people on the other side because they wish they didn't have to exist.
Exactly.
But they do have to exist.
Of course they do.
There's a balance to this fucking thing. And here's the thing. People in Libya, if Kevin Spacey had a TV show in Libya where he fucked all the grips right in the mouth before every episode, they would go, that's what he does. He's the star. He's the fucking star. You the star? Who's the star?
Yeah.
Are you the star?
Exactly.
You're the star. Kevin Spacey is the star. You gotta fuck your mouth. There's bombs going off in the streets.
Open your mouth. Open your mouth.
There's fucking IEDs at every fucking dead dog on the side of the road. Kick them over, you lose your leg. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he fucked your mouth. What's the problem? He fucked your mouth. He's Kevin Spacey.
He's Kevin Spacey.
He is the guy. He's the president. He fucked your mouth. Come on. You want to work or not starve? What you want to do? What you want to do? You want to live?
What do you want?
That is an offensive accent.
That's an outrageous accent.
It's unreasonable. I don't even know why you do it because it doesn't sound like anyone that's ever lived. It's so offensive. No one has ever.
It was not a bad accent. It was not a bad accent.
It's exactly what someone who doesn't know how to speak English would sound like. I would wish that I could speak Arabic so I could realize how fucking shitty my bad Arabic would be if I learned Arabic for a couple years and tried to talk to those people. Right?
There's a lot of rolling of the R's.
Make fun of me. Go ahead. I give you full permission to make fun of an American pretending to be or trying to speak Arabic accent.
Arabic is a very difficult language to learn.
Too hard for me.
Too hard.
My friend.
Too hard.
My friend.
It's so hard. It's such a rich language compared to like French.
They would give Kevin Spacey a raise if he was in Libya. If he had a show in Libya, Netflix Libya would give him a raise. I would go, this is method act. This is how president would do. Fuck the mouth of everyone he can fuck. This is what presidents do. I like how you are behaving as a president all the time. Go Frank Underwood. Here's a fucking raise. Just pull out a machine gun. Shoot through the fucking ceiling. Dust in the room. Kiss him on the mouth and leave.
It's not a bad fucking. That's a good. You play a good Arab despot, dude. Who's a pervert.
Listen, this is what you do. You fuck everyone's mouth. You're the president.
He's the president. We have to. There's nothing we can do.
They just get drunk as fuck on booze made out of camel piss. They take camel piss and they mix wheat.
Do you ever hear about how the president of the longtime dictator of Yemen got power? He was a major in the army.
Oh, I'm scared.
He just showed up at he was there. He was just going to be one of the majors, and the president was having a cabinet meeting. And apparently, you can look this up, Jimmy, apparently he basically put a briefcase down or a suitcase down and just pulled out 2 guns and went, well, see you later, goosh, 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 and killed the entire, decapitated the government. He goes, I'm in charge now.
What year was this?
It's in the 70s. He was just
Jesus
like, hey,
Christ.
guys, do you ever see what a pistol grip Uzi looks like? Grrr, see you later.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then he ruled the nation with what's called an iron fist for about 30 years.
I'm sure you watched Narcos, right?
I certainly have.
How about that fucking show? How about Pablo Escobar?
Amazing.
You know what's crazy is apparently Colombia's bounced back tremendously. And Colombia is like a really cool place to visit now.
I've heard.
That's what I keep
I
hearing.
have friends who've been there. I want to go badly.
But
I
how-
want to go. They're the most, they say the most beautiful people, certainly the most beautiful women on the planet.
Well,
they're famed.
It's just amazing that they bounced back so quickly from being under control of a drug lord.
Yeah.
You know, the Pablo Escobar story is so goddamn crazy.
It is crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you do not live forever. Listen to me. Make coke legal. It'll solve 80% of our problems. Just make coke legal.
I agree.
Just make coke legal.
I agree.
Are we really pretending that whiskey is any better than coke? Are we really pretending that? I don't know coke. I don't do coke.
I would say
I
Coke
don't-
is even better because it's devastating quickly. So you do a lot
Yeah.
of Coke. You can drink for 40 years, and before you realize, you're like, holy fuck, I don't have a house or anything else. you fucking do blow. Do blow every day for 3 years and come talk to me and see how your life works out.
I think that less people would be inclined to do it if you made it legal and then let everybody see the consequences of its use in a realistic way. I think part of the problem with things being illegal is that people can't choose for themselves.
I agree.
And if people can't choose for themselves, it's forbidden. And forbidden things, just like that black deck back during the Revolutionary
Yep.
War. Woo!
Become more tasty.
Woo!
They become more tasty.
The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Woo! I mean, that's all forbidden stuff. You can't. Human beings should not be able to tell. This is the bottom line.
Yeah.
Human beings should not be able to tell other human beings what they can or can't do with their own bodies where it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense if you have some things that are legal, like cigarettes, and some things that are legal, like whiskey. That I don't have a problem with cigarettes being legal, and I don't
Right.
have a problem with whiskey being legal. You should be able to do whatever you want. But I think it should be with all of the things. Like, why? How come these things?
Right.
Why can't? You know, you're telling me that whiskey's legal, but mushrooms aren't.
Yeah.
Like, that's. What year is this? What are we doing? Are we pretending? Are we pretending there's no science? Are we in witchcraft days or no?
Yeah.
Let me know when the witchcraft days are over. Because I would say witchcraft should be over now.
Yeah.
So if it's over now, we have to look at science, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can't let me buy oxytocin or OxyContin from the
Controlled.
fucking pharmacy. You can't
The
let me buy
doses
that
are controlled.
because I stubbed my fucking toe.
Yeah. What do you think would happen if we made cocaine legal? Would
Nothing.
Would consumption go up?
Yes, for a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of girls would show their inner hoe. They'd let it out. A lot of dudes
It wouldn't
would
be cut
make
with
some
speed
important
so you
business
could get it
deals
up.
that they'll never fucking complete.
That's that joke. Who was that joke? Who's like, when
Mike
you do
Young.
cocaine, you want to start a business together?
Yeah, Mike Young had that joke.
That's a great, it's a fucking
It's a great joke. It's so true.
So true.
Well, I mean,
let's open a donut shop. What the
people
fuck are we
always
doing,
wanna
dude?
Talk to you about their passion.
Yeah.
Talk about your passion. It's a weird drug to be around.
I was in Jamaica, and I'm not a big drug guy, but I did a bag of coke.
A whole bag?
A guy sold it to me. I was smoking weed,
Whoa.
and this guy I was with, we were hanging. He goes, "You ever do blow?" I was like, "I'm not a drug guy. I don't even smoke weed much." And he goes, "Try this." And I did one line of cocaine, Jamaican cocaine, and I was like, "This must have fallen off a boat because this shit's got a yellow thing to it." And I was like, first of all, I'm the coolest motherfucker on the planet. Second of all, we're gonna play ping pong for a good 3 hours. Third of all, then I'm going to go to my fucking hotel room and I'm going to wake my girlfriend up and tell her that I'm a genius. And then, wait for it, I'm going to write for 3-4 hours, keep doing cocaine, and I'm going to change my career because I'm going to write a 3-hour bit on how God is a Rastafarian. How funny is that? And I wrote stand-up, God is a Rastafarian. Kept waking my girlfriend up going, I'm writing the funniest shit. You're not going to believe this. And she was like, huh? I can't believe it. I was like, you wait till this. And I looked at it. Then I passed out. Before my heart could give out, and I looked at the shit I wrote about 8 hours later, and it was basically God's a Rasta, and he speaks like a Jamaican, and that was the joke, and I thought it was brilliant when I was fucking doing the blow.
Well, in the right state of mind, if you captured that idea, like if you gave that bit to Dave Chappelle,
Sure.
maybe he could make something out
Not
of
me,
it.
not Bryan Callen when he's
But
high on
maybe you
cocaine
could-
in Jamaica.
See, it's like you needed to figure out what the fuck you were trying to say. Like I've written things down on marijuana, and I figure I'll figure it out when I'm sober. But then you try to read it when you're sober, and you're like, "What the
tough.
fuck was my point?
Yeah.
What is the point here?"
Yeah. But they did studies on people on drugs, I think cocaine, and had them play musicians and stuff. And they were like, I thought it was amazing. And then they listened to what they're playing. They're like, oh, what the fuck? Well, the argument was made when what killed the music after 1968 was, the Monterey Rock and Roll Festival with Hendrix and the Mamas and Papas. So what gave birth to that renaissance was marijuana and psychedelics. That enhanced the music.
Oh, for
when
sure.
Cocaine and heroin came in,
you got disco.
It fucking killed it. Yeah, it killed it. People died. Yes, literally.
I'm your boogeyman.
Well, some of that shit's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, but it's the idea behind that music. Like, how about Showgirls? Showgirls, the movie, would not exist if it wasn't for cocaine. That movie is a goddamn cocaine movie. That movie's a movie where you could see the blood coming out of their nose while they were watching the edits. Like, yes, keep that in. No, you fucking keep that scene in. And you make it longer. More flopping in the pool.
Oh, it's a terrible movie.
That fucking sex scene between the girl from Saved by the Bell, what is her name? Elizabeth something or other,
Berkeley, Elizabeth
and
Berkeley.
who was the dude? Kyle MacLachlan Clink. That guy?
She was all naked. Beautiful.
She's very beautiful. But there's a scene when they're in the pool where they're making love, Bryan Callen.
Yep.
And if a girl was doing that, if you were having sex with a girl, if you were having sex with a girl and she started doing that, you would immediately, and I know you're a pervert, you would still immediately call a doctor. You, as perverted as you are, as much as you love ladies.
No, dude, I got high testosterone.
You would be so excited to be that Kyle MacLachlan guy with Elizabeth Berkley, and she's wrapped around and she's flopping around in the pool. You would call the police. You would call the police. This is only part of it. Yeah. So this is okay. I can handle this. This bitch is just getting crazy. Woo!
Yeah.
Them titties are flopping. First of all, if you're Kyle MacLachlan, how do you
her
not
a couple
shoot
times.
all over your own face with this? Here's the problem. Here's the problem. She starts flailing. She's like throwing herself back.
I gotta call the
he's
doctor.
hanging on. And by the way, he blew out both his rotator cuffs in the scene.
For real?
He had to get both of his shoulders completely reconstructed. No,
I only hope you're telling the truth.
I just made that up.
Fuck, that's
He
funny.
tore his labrum. He tore the bicep tendon from the bone.
God damn it.
She's flopping around like she's dying.
Yeah, it's
I would
embarrassing.
go, you got to let me know if you're going to do that. You can't just
so I can
pretend
get
to be
some rope?
dying. Because if you just die, if I'm like, this girl's just lit. She's crazy.
Yeah, you might break.
And I let you
might break my dick too.
But what if I let her die? What if you let her die? You're like, you asshole. She was having a seizure. You came inside of her? She was having a seizure and you came inside of her? Dude, what the fuck? I thought she was just being freaky. You didn't see. We have a video of it. You didn't see there was something wrong with her? You fucking selfish asshole. All you cared about was coming.
Yeah.
She was dying, man. She's flopping around. She can't breathe. She doesn't see anymore. Look at her. Look at her. She's dying.
Take it easy.
How can you? You're raping her here. You're holding on to her. You're keeping her inside of you.
Oh my
God. If you just let her go. There's no way. She's trying to get away.
How long does this go on for?
She's trying to get away.
GIF of it. It's just on repeat.
It's on repeat.
She's trying to get away.
All right. Well, congratulations on all that.
There's nothing funny about rape, ladies and gentlemen, but this isn't rape, and that's why I made a joke. Okay?
I'm holding my. I'm in a monk scream right now.
It's a joke about something you absolutely know is definitely not rape, and I'm being ridiculous. Joke.
Yeah, everybody. It's funny how you have to do that nowadays.
Gotta do that.
In today's climate.
I know you're ready. I know you're ready to get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. Everybody, we need to stop doing this. We need to figure out what's
Stop being so literal.
Yeah.
Stop being so literal.
We need to start realizing this. If we had real problems in the world, and the Kevin Spacey thing was a bad example. I was just trying to be funny about the Libyan. Yeah, don't let Kevin Spacey grab your dick. I get it. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying.
Not what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, we just need to be super cognizant of the fact that there is a real highly likelihood that we have achieved the highest level of civilization the world has ever known. It's right now. And we need to be aware of that.
We've made progress, in other words.
And any massive,
yes.
and any seemingly important thing that you want to go off on, you're taking energy away from recognizing the fact that we need to protect the crucial elements of this amazing thing that we have right now. And one of the things that we have to do is we got to avoid this weird tribalism that I keep talking about, tribal thinking. because it's not just sexual, it's political, it's socioeconomic. It's
But it's
like,
also-
I'm
it's
just a
also-
fucking blue-collar guy, and I'm no, you're a fucking person.
Yeah.
We're all just people. You're in a trap.
Human beings we're genetically predisposed to be tribal.
It's
Us
a problem.
versus them. Us versus
we
them.
got to get past that.
Yeah.
If we're a tribe, okay, we should be tribe planet Earth.
Yeah.
You know, there's famous Ronald Reagan speech. You remember that Ronald Reagan speech? He gave a speech. I would want to say it's in front of Congress, but he gave a speech where he was talking about how quickly we would set aside our differences if we were attacked by an alien force from another world.
Right.
And all of us would realize.
Yes.
I mean, this heat of the Cold War. I mean, this is like very scary times. Do you remember growing up? We're the same
Yes,
age.
very much so.
Worried about nuclear war.
The Soviets
we were always
were
worried.
a real threat.
They were a real threat.
Nuclear annihilation was
Yeah.
actually something we all thought about every day.
Yes. And the further we're away from that, the more we forgot. But if you just pay attention to Libya, just pay attention to Afghanistan, pay attention to Iraq, pay attention to all sorts of parts of the world where North Korea, things are not fucking stable at all. We're assuming that things are going to stay stable because they're stable right here. But we're all on the same goddamn planet.
Yeah.
And that's a real problem. It's a real problem. And I think we're better at figuring this out than we have ever been before, but there's a lot of hiccups and bumps along the way. But one of the things that's going to eliminate a good percentage of them is if we can isolate tribalism and see it when it's happening and call it for what it is and avoid it. And
It's very tough now,
very
though,
tough.
and I'll tell you why. Because there used to be one of the great people always talk about how religion was responsible for so much violence, but they always forget religion was also responsible for a great deal of unification. So there was a national narrative in this
Right,
country.
right.
We were a Christian nation for a long time in this country, and there was a national narrative. There were just certain things that people collectively agreed upon, and usually it started in the church, or at least it had its values in the church. I would argue that, even our Constitution has been greatly influenced by the Judeo-Christian ethic. All men are created equal, for example, is a Christian idea. There's no way to prove it biologically or mathematically, but it's something we all it's a nice starting point. It's literally what our justice system is predicated on. All men are created equal. Even though LeBron James and I have totally different genomes and he's an avatar and we're not equal, if you kill me, you kill LeBron, you do the same amount of time in jail, theoretically. That would be the idea behind our thing.
He should be worth more.
He should be worth a little bit more than that. I would agree. I would agree. And what's really interesting is how different we are, how we all strive not to be equal, right? I want to be better than everybody else, but we believe in it. It's a really nice starting point.
You know something I read that's really important, and I always bring it up to people, that free will, or the ability to do whatever you want, a freedom of expression, a freedom of pursuits, breeds inequality. Because if you give people true, total freedom, some people are going to try harder than others.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be
Inequality is
obsessed.
not a bad thing.
Some people want to be Tyler Perry and have a fucking island.
Yeah, dude, but remember, there's a fundamental difference, right? Well, what's the difference between being an American and a communist? An American believes in equality of opportunity. I'm not saying we have that, but that would be the goal. Then there's equality of outcome. The only way to have equality of outcome is to keep down the people that work harder, that are smarter, and more talented.
Yeah.
You got to make everybody equal. That's, to me, a fundamental evil. That's my problem with Marxism. What the fuck? The only way to do that is with force. That's the only way.
The problem is it's never worked.
No,
It's never worked, and it almost always leads to mass murder.
Right, exactly.
But nobody wants to think that
No.
because the idea behind it is beautiful.
Okay, so
we
Pol
don't need to
Pot-
compete. We should just share our money and share our
Look
wealth.
up Pol Pot, Mao
Yeah.
Zedong, Hitler,
Well, those are
Lenin, and
communist
Stalin.
dictatorships.
Yeah, Hitler was more of a fascist,
And
but
people also don't realize that the Nazis were the National Socialists.
That's right.
That's
right.
It's a real problem with the idea in execution. But the idea in the most romantic view possible is that we don't need to compete with each other. We don't need to be greedy. And then we could all share resources and wealth and we all get along.
Good luck.
And have income equality. But I think it's important to recognize the thought behind the best version of that. Right? The thought behind the best version of that is someone that just really wants to be an amazing person.
Yeah.
Right? And they really want other people to be amazing people as well. They want everybody to be fine. They strive for everybody to get along. So let's just combine our wealth. We don't have to get rich. Let's just provide for the poor. It's super important. Let's give health care to everybody before anything. Hey man, we don't need the military. Let's just relax. Okay, you're going to get invaded.
Right.
It's a matter of time before the Russians show up at
Yes.
the borders.
Yes.
And they're going to fuck your mouth.
Yes, but
you gotta be ready.
but on that, let me piggyback
They've
on
been
that.
doing that forever.
Remember that the idea,
Not the Russians,
Adam
but
Smith's idea, and the idea behind making money was also that when you are rich and when you are an aristocrat, you have a responsibility to give back to your community.
Yes.
That was very much ingrained in the British sensibility, and even in the American aristocracy, like the Kennedys in this country.
I'll go
Like,
one
you're
better.
rich and
Bill
you have a
Gates.
responsibility. Correct.
Bill Gates, one of the ways Bill Gates has
Incredibly.
engendered himself
Yes.
with a lot of us is that if he does an amazing amount of charity.
Amazing amount.
He's amazing.
Very creative with it too.
And by the way, still lives like a fucking gangster. It's not even like it's putting a dent in his lifestyle.
Right.
I mean, he's helping so many people out with the Bill Gates
Warren
Foundation.
Buffett does the same thing. Warren Buffett gave his kids now it's up to $7 billion. He was like, go make the world a better place.
Amazing.
And he's got all kinds of charities. But that
and
comes.
he's, by all accounts, a super sweet guy.
Yes, they're really humble. But back to what you were talking about how we're breaking into tribes. I think that we have lost any kind of national narrative. And what I mean by that is that people don't even trust their own institutions. With the crumbling of any kind of like religious institution, it seems that now people are looking they don't trust main sources of information. So they don't trust. Most of the mainstream media has earned their shitty reputation because now it's
Right.
about clickbait. Now it's about kind of creating something. So you want to be first, not true.
Yeah.
Being true is not as important as being the first one with the story and blah, blah, blah. I think that there certainly are agendas with liberal media, conservative media. They both have their
There's
own
sneaky
agendas.
shit that people do.
Exactly. So what happens is I think media's favorability is in the single fucking digits or something like among most Americans.
Let me give you an example how this works sometimes. Somebody wrote a good article about the debate that Eddie Bravo and I had about the world being flat. But the title of the article was Joe Rogan argues with someone about the world being flat. So it seems like
You
I was
believe
saying that the
world
world
is flat.
So you immediately click it, but right away, the first sentence is "God bless Joe Rogan," and then he was in a conversation with his friend who was arguing about the possibility, and then okay, I see what you did.
Yeah.
I kind of let you.
He hooked you. He hooked you.
You got it. You did it. You did the
Good.
right thing. It's okay. But because of that, and even though it's very insignificant, a bunch of people have said to me, "Bro, you used to believe the fucking Earth was flat. I saw that." I was like,
No. Yeah.
"I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't see that."
CNN and Huffington Post both
They do
news.
that. They all do that.
I can't stand either
It's
one of those. I think
sneaky.
CNN and Huffington Post are terrible, but both of them do that. They'll hit you with this like. Donald Trump just said one word that changed the entire presidency.
Yes,
and you're like,
you
huh?
fuck.
Let me see what the fuck.
You fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, Keith Olbermann is signed off. This is
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to watch.
I like him.
He's a spicy character.
Super
He's
liberal, but I liked him anyway.
Super liberal, but I think you have to have that. Look, at least who I am right now. I'm an open-minded, friendly person that allows for all ideas.
Yes.
Keith Olbermann is as far left as you're gonna get, and I like the fact that he was out there.
Yeah.
I think having a wacky dude out there standing in front of a cable access show background with red on one side and blue on the other, and he's got his notes in front of him, and he's wearing a tie, and he delivers these super eloquent
dissertations.
takedowns,
Yeah.
but he's decided he's going to step away. And he said he's retiring from politics because he thinks that Donald Trump's done.
He does?
He thinks Donald Trump, he lists a series of things. Keith Olbermann says he's retiring from political commentary.
Wow.
Yeah, and he lists a series of things.
Oh, good for him.
He's a fucking formidable
He knows his shit. I would
opponent.
not want to debate that guy. He knows his shit.
He did one thing, though, that was pretty fucking stupid.
What was that?
You know, the Tommy Lauren girl, she's like a conservative hot chick, hot white girl with blonde hair.
No.
She put a flag on, like she was like holding up a flag in a photo, and he wrote something about you shouldn't use the flag that way. And then Donald Trump Jr. tweeted a photo of the two of them together with her with the flag and Keith Olbermann wrapped in a flag.
Oh, boy.
And said, something about him being stupid.
Wow.
Some funny thing.
That's also catty to say that. Stop being catty with this fucking bullshit.
Listen, I understand you don't like her because she's a hot girl that's a conservative and she says ridiculous shit sometimes, and she does. But you got to save your attacks. You can't throw rocks at every target. You can't stop for every dog that barks on the way home, or you never get home.
This is why George Washington talked about the importance of civility.
It's so
You
important.
need civility. If you start attacking each other, if I start, I heard a rumor that Donald Trump in meetings when he was negotiating somebody's car, he'd go, "Oh, Jesus, your breath. Holy fuck, you get the worst breath." And he just get you on your heels. He'd be like, "What?"
Does he do that?
Yeah, apparently that was some of the tactics. He would just insult you and get you off your pins. Now you're
sense.
emotional and you're insecure about your breath. Now you can't talk as much. There are little techniques like that.
I think Donald Trump would be super fun if he was like your uncle that you were going to take your girlfriend to when you first started dating. Like, say if you dated a girl and it's like 3 months in and you're in love and you're parked outside your uncle's house. You're like, "Listen, we're gonna spark this joint and we're gonna go meet my fucking crazy uncle. He's a beautiful
Dude,
guy.
I've heard
he's flawed, but he's crazy. And don't look at his hair. And we're just gonna smoke this weed." And then like. And when he talks about himself, just seem fascinated, and you pass the joint.
You guys
back
are
and
lucky
forth,
I'm here.
and you go in there so high that you're barely alive. So you got like 180 beats per minute. Your heart's going, "What are we doing?"
Dude, I golfed with his caddy, Obama's caddy, George W.'s caddy, a guy named Cameron.
I didn't know you golfed 3 times.
Yes, thank you very much.
All 3 times those guys?
No,
or
same guy,
other
same
times?
guy. Same guy who caddied for all the
one guy.
presidents.
Oh,
Number
you
one,
made
he
it
said
sound
this.
like there's 3 trips.
No, I wish. No. And he said, best golfer in the group, hands down by far, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He said, it doesn't like Trump, but basically said he's very nice, very funny, and cracked him. Like, he looked at me and goes, "How do you think I'm doing?" And Cameron was like, "I think you got a lot on your plate." And then apparently he drove by there at his club in Key Largo or whatever, or Mar-Largo, and these people were there, and he just walked, as they were driving by in the cart, he goes, "Do you guys have any idea how lucky you are? You're in the best club in the world." And they just kept driving. He's a very entertaining dude.
I'm a little bummed out at myself that I didn't do Celebrity Apprentice.
Really?
Yeah, because the Celebrity Apprentice was available when we were doing the second run of Fear Factor.
Right.
And they asked me to do it. And this is when we were on NBC. I was like, God, I want to move my family to New York for a few months. And like maybe, and Mrs. Rogan was down for it, but I was like, I don't know if that's a smart move. It seems like a lot of work for something that's not really my thing. I don't really want to do it, but I kind of wish I did it now.
So you could get to know Trump?
Yeah.
I don't know how well you'd get to know him, though.
I'd get to know him if you let me hang on to him.
Yeah. I'm sure he'd
Just let me be close to smell you.
I'm sure he'd be a blast. I'm sure he'd be a lot of fun because he's one of those guys.
Him. Maybe I could talk to him. Maybe I could have fixed things. Maybe I could have told him, dude, just take it down a notch. It would be okay.
He's not interested. The problem with him is that he's not interested in what he doesn't know. That's how I feel.
I feel like we could have a sit
know
in.
him.
I feel like we could have a sit in with Homeboy.
Yeah.
Just him.
God, if you get him on this podcast, I have to come in.
Just wear him out. Just relax.
He never drinks, doesn't smoke.
Of course. That's the problem. It's part of the problem. Like, you need a separation from your normal states of consciousness. Otherwise, you're acting on momentum your entire life. So you live like a child.
They did a psychological profile that I thought was interesting on him, which was that he's always been on the outside. So his dad wasn't allowed to be part of the developers in New York. He had to go elsewhere. And he was always kind of like kept out. And he is now in the media. So his way of, and I think Roy Cohn, the infamous lawyer, was his mentor and said, attack. Always attack. Dude. Meet any threat with an attack.
Hey, listen, the reason why he's president is because Obama mocked him at the press corps conference. Remember that? Remember that press corps dinner meeting thing?
Uh-huh.
And Obama mocked him and said, "I'm one thing that you're never going to be, and that's the president." And he's like, oh, for real?
Yeah.
I'm fucking older than you.
Good luck.
I'm ridiculous. Look at my hair, and I'm still going to be the president. How about you go fuck yourself? How about you don't know what you're dealing with here? How about...
He was amazing. He was so amazing in the debates. He was so entertaining.
He was funny.
And even Jeff Bush said, "You can't insult your way to the White House, my friend." Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. You definitely can when you're fighting. Look, it's like what's really ironic is one of the things that's come out. Joe Rogan trying to pretend he knows things about politics. I don't. But what I do know about is talking shit. I'm good at talking shit, and I understand the strategies behind talking shit. And one of the strategies behind talking shit was that Hillary felt very confident that if she could get Donald into a position of being the primary candidate against her, she would have an easy path to the White House because she felt like like Donald was so ridiculous that the other candidates, by even being associated with him in the same party, there would be revolt, it would be chaos, and if he won, he'd be an easy target. And there's all this like written banter back and forth where she was trying to connect him with the most ridiculous people. Like, of course, you know, there's just all this like strategy with Ted Cruz where they had this idea of how, you know, they would make them all look marginalized, easy path to the White House. And he just threw a monkey wrench, ka-clang, right into that theory. It's like, stupid. I'm the worst person for you to argue. I'm gonna say you should be in jail. Lock her up. Lock her up. And she was like, what?
I'll make shit up too.
What?
I'll make up my own facts if I have to. I'll do whatever I want.
Yeah, and I'll get caught on tape talking about how girls just let you grab them in the pussy.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks out.
Yeah.
No problem.
Locker room talk. It was locker room talk.
Not a problem. Let's talk about uranium.
Dude, I thought he was done. When I heard that, I thought, oh, he's definitely done.
Nope.
And by the way, what's really shocking, what was it? 44% of the white women voted for him?
Because they want that dick.
Well, they weren't that offended. They weren't that offended by it, I guess. Right?
There's a lot of women right now that just shut off this podcast. You fucking asshole. Right when I was starting to think you weren't an asshole. It's just comedy. I don't really think that 44%. I think people didn't like Hillary. They didn't trust her. I think if you looked at what it is in terms of like good versus evil, it's known evil versus unknown, you know, result.
Well, I think it's known evil or known corruption versus a sideshow, like sort of a guy who's going to be really entertaining for the next 4 years, but probably won't bring the Republic down.
But what if he decides to really look out for the American people? What if he decides to make America great again? What if he decides to bring back engineering and bring back production of goods and fucking... What if he decides that? What if he really decides that? Then... Is it better? Let's take a chance. And I think a lot of people did that.
I agree.
And then I also think we're realizing, and we should, this is something we need to all come to grips with. It is irrational, illogical, nonsensical, and antiquated to have one person have that much power in the United States of America. It is nonsense. It's not something we need. It is it's a value system and a ruler leadership system that's designed for small groups of people, and it works very well. It works very well for groups of 150 people with leaves over their dicks. But as soon as you get to 320 million people all trapped together on a landmass, you cannot have one dipshit that's good at insulting people and standing in front of a camera. I don't care if it's him or the next guy or it's not an assault on Donald Trump. It's like one person who figures out a way to fucking manipulate and dance and do his best America's Got Talent fucking representation. One of those things to get to the point where people go, the other lady's boring and she keeps fainting. Boom, and they hit the switch for Trump. I mean, you got to get past that.
One of the things that president always talks about and governors talk about is how little power they have.
You say that, but there's real problems right now with the Environmental Protection Agency being defunded. There's real problems right now with them deciding to start drilling in places in Alaska that people have been fighting for them drilling for decades because they're worried that in extracting minerals from the ground, they're going to ruin these salmon waterways.
Well, he can appoint judges, and he can appoint
judges. He can do a lot of things, and obviously that causes a big stir in political discourse and people being active. And you're seeing like some trans woman got elected somewhere, and gay people are getting elected places, and so you're seeing a rebound, which is how it's supposed to work.
That's right. He's created a lot of civic unrest and a lot of civic organization on the other side.
On the other side,
yeah. David Frum was talking about that.
He is. Yeah, he just sent me his book.
Really?
We just have to be really careful, of getting tribal with this. Again, I hate to reiterate this, but I think that in looking at the group of humans as a whole, there's a real problem that on the left and on the right, people have with getting attached to their particular ideology they've adopted and fighting against anything that's any different and not coming to some sort of a common understanding of what we really need to get by on this planet.
Well, it's called a couple of things. One is there are different psychological profiles, and I've heard Jordan Peterson talk about sort of like the left is rooted in compassion, the right is rooted in respect for the strong. And then what happens is the way things move forward is you have an idea, I have an idea, and remember something, it's very important. Human beings usually are weighing two values in their head at one time. Let me give you an example. I don't believe in illegal immigration, but I have a lot of compassion for people who are dying to get over the border. If I was a border control agent, I would probably be the guy who's like, come on in, because I'm emotional.
Right.
Doesn't mean that's right. What it means is that sometimes you weigh two values in your head, right? Mercy and compassion versus justice and fair play. Okay?
Let me propose something to you. Now, this is going to sound crazy for a lot of people. They're, you a fucking commie. At one point in time, I believe, in the future, we will not have boundaries in terms of places you're allowed to travel and not to travel.
Right.
At one point in time, people would truly be thought of as equal. And when that point in time happens, you allow people to freely travel all over the world. Why can't we do that now?
First of all, you won't even have to travel. I think what's going to happen is when you can interface with another brain, and that's possible. You're going to have an experience about exactly what it's like to be a woman.
Yeah.
Exactly what it's like, by the way, to be
a
woman. I'm going to take it. I want to be a woman so I can see what it's like to have sex with LeBron James. But here's the thing.
What if would you complain, or would you put your hands on her hips?
I'm gonna be able to experience it. So then, if I can interface with another brain, now we got a real problem. Because what the fuck does that mean about my identity?
What if they can't, you can't pick which brain you interface with? Like, you're gonna be a girl who has sex with LeBron James, but you're a 100-pound Irish girl. Like, shit.
Oh boy.
You're gonna get your uterus blown out. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you want 178-pound chick from Ecuador that
who can really take it. I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is you're going to have guys like LeBron James who have these fantastic lives, who have sex and dunk basketballs, and they're going to sell their experience. You want to interface with my brain? It's going to cost you this much money, and that is going to be the new drug.
Oh my God, you're right.
The new drug is going to be, I want to see what it's like to be whoever it is, LeBron
Dennis
James.
Rodman will rise again.
Correct.
Dennis Rodman will rise from the flames like a fucking phoenix. And be the #1 superstar again in the world.
And when you watch porn, you're going to be able to tap into the guy's brain, and you're going to be able to have sex with anybody you want. So that's
you're going to be thinking about dick just like he is.
Uh-huh.
Imagine that. Imagine if
hey,
you
man,
get your favorite
why
porn
do you keep
star.
bringing it over to dick?
You're like, hey, he's thinking about dick. This is confusing. Why am I coming when I'm thinking about guys' butts? Shit!
Damn it!
People get mad at you. Yo, I got honey dick by that Bryan Callen video.
Motherfucker.
Homeboy's got a giant dick, but he's thinking about dudes' butts all the time. No way. But he fucks all the hottest girls. Doesn't matter, man. While he's fucking all the hottest girls, he's thinking about dudes' butts. Hold on, though, bro. Did you come or not? Came immediately.
Immediately.
I came like a terrorist.
But he was wearing a wig in my mind.
I came like a dude strapped with dynamite getting his dick sucked for the last time. And then I took the headphones off like, fuck you, Bryan Callen.
God damn it.
He's fucking the hottest girls, but he's thinking about dudes' butts. Your friends be like, man, I don't even know if he's telling the truth. I've been holding out for the Bryan Callen virtual reality sex video, but now...
God, he's so medium and white.
I don't want to think about
this
dudes'
great.
butts.
I know. Oh, I told you I had a dream I was gay, right, a couple of times? I was talking about that on a podcast.
Before or after you had gay sex?
This was during, so I don't know if that makes sense.
Dream.
I was gay.
Dream of gay.
And in my dream, I was like, I can't believe I'm gay. This is so not what I'm into. And then I knew I was going to have sex with my boyfriend, who may or may not have been Brendan Schaub. I can't remember. It was a big guy.
A gate you can't really bounce back and forth from.
I don't know, man. I've actually never really had a gay...
We need to talk to Thaddeus Russell, because he'll tell you you're a liar, and that all men have some sort of gay fantasy somewhere deep in their head, or 35%.
Me and Thaddeus had a conversation about truth
and
versus
gay men.
like plural truths versus one fixed truth. That's a huge debate. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
So, like, Nietzsche would be the guy to talk about plural truths. So if you look up at a painting, that painting there are different truths, right? One is that painting's beautiful, and that's all I know. It's beautiful. It affects me emotionally. That's a truth.
Right.
Then a chemist would look at that painting and say, well, you're not really seeing yellow. What you're seeing is, your eyes are looking at light, and it reflects. There's a chemical in there, and he'd break down a chemical.
So
that's
there's a
another
different
truth.
layer to truth, you're saying.
Different kinds of truth.
True love, right?
So true love... I don't know that's still a really interesting mystery to me, because I wonder if that's a relationship with yourself. So sometimes you're obsessed with somebody, right? You love them.
Yeah.
You might be obsessed with the idea of being the one that can break them, that can be the one that tames them, the one that owns them, the one that, you know, gets them to forget about all other dick and just yours. That's what a lot of relationships are predicated on. This notion of territoriality.
Right, but is that true love? Is that what we're talking about? Does it matter? But what really matter is the moments where you are together, where you truly care about each other, where the intensity is almost overwhelming, and the love and the happiness to be with each other is almost overwhelming.
Yes.
That is really true love. All the other stuff...
Is that a state, though?
I think it's a state
is that
of
a state, and how long does it last?
That's a good question. And whether or not you're committed to that person as a love, not just a love interest, but like as an inhabitant in your realm of truly loved ones. Like, what is your village of truly loved ones?
I have a cynical answer for you on that. So I know what the Greeks said.
Cynical.
So why do you love your children? Why? What is it about your children that you love? And this is what Socrates said. This is kind of an interesting way of looking at it. So he said, love, difficult to define. You have to define it as love of something.
Right.
And what is the one thing man loves more than anything else? Think about it.
Pussy.
Not close. Pussy's pussy's maybe a manifestation of what you're trying to get from it. What is it? Come on.
Attention?
Why would you breed?
You want to get rid of jizz?
God damn it. God damn it. Keep going. You got to think deeper, bro.
Legacy.
I need you to think the next level. Why? What is it that man loves more than anything else? What does he want more than anything else?
I don't know. What does he want? You tell me.
Immortality. You want to live
Pussy
forever.
comes first.
Exactly. Well,
If
pussy's
you want
the
to live
gateway.
forever with no pussy.
Pussy's
No,
the
no,
gateway
no,
because
no,
you
no,
create
no.
kids. And your kids are your genetic expression.
Ask anybody worth a fuck. Do you want to live forever with no pussy forever, or live for 100 years and just live like Jay-Z on a yacht in gold underwear with two champagne bottles?
I want to live dangerously. Yes. You want to live dangerously, not safely. Fuck 1,000 years.
Of
I'll live 100
course.
years of excitement.
So what you're saying about immortality is horseshit, because immortality without pussy is nonsense.
Immortality is represented in different things. Watch your
Listen
work,
to
your
me.
legacy.
Listen to me,
Yeah.
sweetie.
Yeah.
If someone is in my circle of friends and somebody offers you immortality with no pussy or 100 years and pussy, if you don't take choice number 2, lose my number.
But hold on, sir.
Stop texting me. I can't work with you anymore.
Sir, I would argue that your love of pussy might be genetically, like you've evolved to, that your love of pussy is your love of pussy because you ultimately want to spread and further your DNA.
Well, first of all, I think we're being very disrespectful, you particularly,
Oh,
of calling
vagina?
it pussy.
I meant vagina.
I'm talking about sexual relations.
Sorry, sir.
What about the gay folk?
Okay.
A lot of the gay folk would want
Ass.
to be no, just sex.
It's true, actually.
Instead of sex. Yeah, instead of calling it pussy. Because the gay folk would be like, hey, man, I'm with you, but you're excluding me. I'm 1/10 of the population, allegedly.
Not 1/10.
38% according
Let's
to
say-
Thaddeus Russell.
No, Thaddeus.
That's what he said.
Is that what he said? We might be misquoting him.
of dudes get hard when they see dudes getting their
He's
dick
out of-
sucked by
I'm gonna
dudes.
fucking- that's
what
not
he
true.
said.
That's not
No,
true.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
right.
I like Thaddeus.
Yeah, me too.
But I think that the idea of not being in a sexually pleasurable relationship with someone for all of eternity, that sounds stupid.
First of all,
That just can't be
Did
as
you see
good.
that? Did you see that study they did with men and women in long-term relationships? You know what the secret was? The long-term, and
Ecstasy?
they fucked. They had a
Yeah.
deep sexual connection. Get the
talk
fuck
to
out of
me.
here.
Talk to me.
I'm just friends with you. We have a deep friendship. You should want to fuck the person. You should want to fuck. I've heard that successful marriages are like that. Yeah. Why are you making those noises?
This is what you do when you fuck, right?
Oh,
You
sorry,
snap your
dude.
fingers, you make mean
And you
noises. That's how I fuck.
No,
go
I don't
like
do that.
this.
I go like this. I go, ooh,
And I do a lot of slicking back hair I don't even have.
That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what she does.
In all honesty, if you had a choice between living like a hermit, like all bullshit aside, no jokes, living like a hermit, living like someone who occasionally interacts with people but doesn't have any real deep connection with them, or living like you're in like a wonderful community of people that you care about, and drinking and carrying on and hugging each other and laughing and joking around and waking up hungover and getting breakfast together, and you live for 100 years.
You want me to
with
get
those.
intellectual? You know what you're talking about right now? You know what the
Life.
question? No, you know what this distinction you're drawing, my friend? Can I get philosophical on
Yes,
you? The distinction between Socrates and Nietzsche. Socrates
right,
said
yeah.
a man should have quiet contempt for his body and ultimately learn to be a contemplative human being. Just be a brain. And your body's nothing. And as he was dying, he drank the hemlock. He said, why are you guys crying? I'm living in this shitty shell and it's all gross and I'm going on to a better, I'm going to be in the sky with all the great philosophers. And Nietzsche goes, yeah, Socrates, you said that because you're ugly. You never got laid. So of course you want to negate, and you turned reason into a tyrant. And he said, all those 7 deadly sins that the Christians talk about, like pride, there's another word for pride. It's called self-esteem. Self-esteem is a good thing. And lust, yeah, sex is a lot of fun, even though he never had sex. But literally,
never had sex?
Basically never got laid. They even think, yeah, they think he either got syphilis and that's why he died and went crazy, or he was gay. Either way, he never got laid. He had a giant mustache. Bring up Nietzsche and take a look at his mustache. He used to talk about masks. He had a crazy mustache that covered half his face.
If Nietzsche was gay.
Brilliant motherfucker. But he talked about
gay,
make your life a circus and a work of art. Enjoy everything and live dangerously. Don't be fucking in a mountain. When you're in a mountain meditating, it's awesome. But guess what? You're not really engaged in the world.
I wish he was gay.
Look at that mustache. Look at that fucking mustache.
There's so many dudes that are like real aggro, sort of Wall Street type guys that are pro Nietzsche.
Yeah.
It would be awesome if Nietzsche was just like the whole time he was talking, yeah, you're ugly. I'm thinking about good-looking guys' cocks.
Hopefully. That's
He's
not
like
the only thing
making
that was
that
interesting.
noise. This is the noise I want you to think about him making behind the spectacles and with that beautiful mustache, with that suit on. He's doing this. As soon as they stop the camera, thinking about dicks.
You're being stereotypical. He's not licking his lips.
Yeah, he's slurping.
You don't know.
Look at him. But look at that face. That would be a dick slurping type face.
Things whistle through his mustache when he says fuck.
Maybe that's why he has that mustache in the first place. So dudes can just really grab it and get all 4 fingers.
Hey man, stop talking about Nietzsche like this, bro.
And manipulate his lips.
I'm having an intellectual discussion.
Those are lip handles. He could grab a hold of them and wrap them in the fingers.
Oh no.
And then use it to just like push down on the shaft.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize. I want to apologize to all you Nietzsche fans.
Why else would you grow mustache on your face?
Do you know he was basically sick his whole life? He was sick his whole life.
Suck that many dicks, man.
Well,
you suck a lot of dicks, you lose weight.
I don't know if that's true,
you
sir.
Cough a lot,
sir. I don't know if that's true.
He's got a dick handle on his upper lip.
I've known a lot of girls
There's no
who've
other
done
reason
that.
to have that. Why else would you grow a dick handle on your upper lip?
Because he's hiding behind his mustache.
Oh,
he's sensitive.
What about a full beard, like a fucking animal?
It's interesting.
Like some dude in the special forces. It's got a neck handkerchief on. Those neckerchiefs.
That was part of his. That was part of his. Those
special forces.
His
scarves.
mask.
Why do so many of those like real badass
have mustaches?
ops guys have those crazy like things around their neck?
Oh, you mean?
Yeah, those
ropes? Or?
No, those like bandana type things.
Do you want to know?
They're like scarves.
I have the answer.
Why?
Okay, ready?
Go ahead.
I know this from my buddy Rudy Reyes, who is a recon guy. Saw a lot of action. They did Generation Kill. So why do you wear
call those things?
Why do you wear a scarf? Here's why. Ready, dude? Ready for this? And hey, all you operators out there, please forgive me. I've never done any, but just indulge me. And all due respect, if I'm here and I'm shooting, okay, boop, 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 and you're next to me.
Yeah.
Where are my shells going? They're fucking hot.
Ooh.
They're spitting out. Oh. And when that shell lands in your neck and gets under your shirt, it burns like a motherfucker.
Maybe you, pussy.
No, so you cover your neck. When you're in a firefight, motherfucker, you cover your neck.
Or
so you wear that.
You open that motherfucker up, Dick Marchenko style.
Now you're talking. Now you got burn marks all over your body.
All over. I'm like little fucking rain teardrops rolling down your chest.
Dude, how about me in Afghanistan? When I went to do stand up in Afghanistan, I wore one of those, and the special forces guy, we were in the truck. He goes, "Take that off." I go, well, why? He goes, if we get hit with an IED, your face is going to catch fire, motherfucker. I was like, oh, shit.
Randy Couture used to wear one of those. And I was like,
Randy Couture can wear whatever he wants.
Yeah, that's the sign of what a bad motherfucker Randy Couture is. He thinks he's going to walk around with a scarf on.
He was a ranger, too, wasn't he? Wasn't he in the military?
He was definitely in the Army. Yeah, he learned to box in the Army. Look at him.
Fucking
he wears those things all over the place. Nobody says shit about it. It's fashion.
He could wear a dick on his head and still.
He signs a new 5-scarf deal. Whoa. What year is this?
5-scarf deal sounds like a joke.
It might be. Click on it. It might be real.
He really
is
might have 5 scarves. He's a handsome man.
Magazine. I guarantee this ain't a joke. What year is this? What year is this article?
It's from January of this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not that old. Less than a year.
Man. Do you remember you and I when we were like 28 years old? Do you remember you and I when we first saw him?
Yes.
Joe and I first saw him. We were at the UFC, and he was standing there, and we were like, we snuck up and we were looking at him, and he had a big ball on his knee. He was like, he has a weird knee, and we were like, his legs are skinny compared to his body. And we were like assessing. We were taking him down. We were looking at his whole body, but we were like two teenage girls looking at a rock star. I never forgot that.
Earliest days, dude. You and I went to one of the earliest ever UFCs when I was like, I can't work for these people anymore. I was like, what am I doing? I was like,
remember it so well.
It was just.
I remember you called me saying you were going to announce a UFC.
Yeah.
I remember you saying, dude, get this. I was like, what?
The fucking people that worked for news radio, like the production people, were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Alabama to do this UFC thing. It's like cage fighting. They looked at me like I was going to watch like animal porn.
That's right.
I was going to watch some chicks suck some donkey dicks and a bunch of dudes get fucked by mules. And like, it's like literally what
I know.
They were like, oh my God, you're ruining your life. And I was like, I'm not. They're going to fight.
You and I were obsessed. I remember that.
Yeah. I'm like, they have to figure out who's the best. God. They have to fight.
I remember meeting or looking at Bustamante, and you said, "That's what's his first name?" Murillo Bustamante, and he's 6'4", and he was at a food. There was like a food laid out, and you were like, "That guy's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world." And I looked at him, he had that jaw, and I was just like, "God." Remember Alan Goaz, same thing. Like I was like, "Fucking stud."
Vitor, that's me. 1997 in Dothan, Alabama.
My Lord.
Look at me, little pipsqueak.
What a beautiful young man he was.
Sweet. I had beautiful skin.
Remember we used to train at Carlson Gracie's?
I had a semi-full head of hair.
You sure did, buddy.
It was starting to go, though.
You sure did.
I was doing my best to hang on.
Yeah, look at how sharp your nose was. Look at how different your nose is. I had a sharp nose.
Fatter.
Pull me up. I was the same way. I did Artie Lang's radio show.
You get rounded off as you get older.
Dude,
isn't it weird?
I had a sharp nose, a skinny fucking neck.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like I'm a thick guy now.
Well, when we first met, we were both skinny. We were both like 27 maybe.
I had breakfast with Brendan Schaub this morning, and I came fresh from my Olympic lifting class. You know I Olympic lift now, right? And my testosterone was spiked.
Look at you.
Look at that.
You cutie.
Oh, I'm such
See
a
if you
cutie.
can get me and Bryan Callen together when Bryan was a pool boy.
Dude, you know what's really sad about that picture? I thought I was kind of tough back then.
You're always a sweet guy.
No, but I mean, in my mind, I was like, I'm a black belt taekwondo. I wrestled in high school. What a sad story.
I remember when we first met, man. We immediately had so much in common. We started talking about martial arts. I'm like, what? You did taekwondo? What? You're a comedian? What?
Yep.
What happened to that chick? What was her name?
Well, when you said you box and you do jiu-jitsu and you have to because you'd be in jail otherwise, I went, oh, that guy speaks my language.
We're both retards. Both had pit bulls.
There you go. There's Bryan.
Look at you with your fucking bikini on.
Oh, look at the dancing.
Look at you.
Look at that.
Hilarious.
I probably was doing push-ups too.
Where's her?
She was
her name
writing Mary. Oh my God, I can't. I cannot believe I'm forgetting her name. She's the most talented woman of all time.
Fucking funny, I'll tell you that. Whatever her name is.
She's incredible.
The fuck's her name, man? I really
cannot believe I'm forgetting Mary's name.
Bryan will find
Mary,
it.
I'm so
Jamie
sorry.
will find it. There's me.
Look at you.
Like a baby.
Look at you.
How weird is that, dude? Someone captured time.
I know.
Like this actually really happened with us.
I know.
We were actually there.
Look at us.
In 94.
Dixie West Worksworth.
Find out what her name is, man. I feel disrespectful.
Mary, I'm so sorry.
We're gonna find it.
I'm 50 and I'm senile. Oh my God, I feel terrible.
He smoked weed.
That's what it is.
This show.
That's what it is, you bastard. Now I'm embarrassing myself.
We're doing a wonderful job of entertaining people.
She's incredible.
Nonsense.
She's one of the. I was always in awe of her talent. She's impossibly funny. Mary
Masterson. No, but that's patriarchy. Son, Masterwoman.
We have to smash the patriarchy.
Is there a last name, Masterwoman? How come you can have Masterson? Can you even have Masterman?
Yeah, Masterman.
Yeah.
Mary Shear.
Oh,
Mary
God
Shear.
damn it.
Mary Shear.
I'm so
Shout
embarrassed.
out to Mary. She was very funny.
She's incredible.
That was a great character she had, too.
She was one of those people that was so talented. Like she'd write shit and she would figure out what was wrong with the sketch, and I would be so in awe. I didn't know. But then she was a groundling forever. I didn't know. I was like, oh, you've been doing this forever. Like I had never done
It's
sketch.
a very specific type of comedy.
Yes.
You know, it's very different. Doing sketch is it's a very different animal than doing stand-up.
She was ridiculously funny.
Yeah,
she still is, I'm sure.
It's a weird form of comedy. You know, those sketch little short things, writing them every week.
Yeah.
You know, that's the craziest thing about Saturday Night Live.
It takes so much work, dude.
Like, yeah, like the Chappelle Show and a lot of these other shows, they had time to develop these sketches, and they weren't doing them all in front of a live audience
Right.
like Saturday Night Live does.
I have friends who have been on Saturday Night Live, and that is a grueling schedule. They're up all night, man, coming up with ideas.
It seems like, well, at least coming from Phil Hartman's explanation of it, he said it was very like competitive.
Oh yeah,
To the point where people got real hostile with each other. It was never like a relaxed, fun environment. Like, in fact, when he first came from Saturday Night Live and came over to news radio, one of the things, he was like a little standoffish at first. And then eventually he like realized like, oh, the people aren't competing with me. We're not competing. Like,
Right.
it took a while though.
Really?
It was like, yeah. There was like an environment of SNL that was like super like hyper competitive.
Lorne
He would
Michaels
be like
wants it to
that.
be that way. You have to compete
Yeah.
to get your sketch on, and if you don't, you go away. And so it's a very competitive atmosphere.
You could see it, and Phil just relaxed. After a while, he relaxed. I'm like, no, we're not competing. Like, you're Phil Hartman. I'm some fucking dude that nobody even knows.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're both on a show together.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay. And then I got deeper and deeper to know him. You know, this is back in my non-weed smoking days. Unfortunately, I wish I smoked weed because he used to love to smoke weed.
Really?
Yeah. He would smoke weed after shows and wind down. He'd play music and go to strip clubs and shit.
He was impossibly funny.
He was a really interesting guy. Like, not like any guy I've ever met. Like, legitimately not like any guy I've ever met. Like, he had an incredibly unique way of viewing opportunities and things. One of the things that happened is he didn't really make it until he was quite old.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
He was a groundling, right? Or was he Second City? I think he was groundling.
I think he was
groundling.
Second City. He might have been groundling too. I think you might be right.
Yeah.
But I know he was also an artist, and he did Pee Wee's Playhouse. He did something with Pee Wee's Pee Wee Herman.
An artist like a painter?
Yeah, no, he used to make album covers and stuff. Yeah, he was like a legit graphic artist.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a fascinating guy. Like, when we first did news radio together, he just decided he wanted to get his pilot's license. So every time I would talk to him, homeboy would have his pilot's book out, and he'd be going over his fucking pilot's book and going, like, he was constantly having it on the set, like in between scenes. He would do a scene, and they would open up his pilot's book, and he just was obsessed with learning how to fly a plane.
My dad was that way.
Fucking loved it.
Yeah. My father was obsessed with that. He got his pilot's license. I never got it. I was like, I don't know why he'd care that much.
Well, you know what it is, man? It's freedom.
Yes.
It's like, especially a guy, obviously, I can say this now since his wife killed him. He had a bad relationship.
Yeah.
When you have a bad relationship, you just want to fly away.
How are his kids doing, I wonder? Do you know?
I don't know. Horrible story.
That was the worst.
It was
I remember talking to you right
terrible.
after it.
Again, this is another thing where it was a dissociative. It was a psych medicine. It was Zoloft mixed with cocaine. Not saying that she wouldn't have done that without anything. I'm not saying that the drugs are responsible, but I'm saying it's eerie how many different violent episodes are connected to psych medication.
Good God.
Yeah. You're fucking with the very way that your brain interfaces with reality. To think that that doesn't have consequences is absurd.
It's absurd.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
And to think that you can sort of poo-poo those consequences, like correlation is not causation. Okay. You're right. But have you done a study to find out what's what?
Right.
Have you really dug into it? Have you looked into these people? Have you find out what they were like? Is there a way to even back engineer their personality before you start adding drugs? Is there a way? Like, do you know what the difference between depression and psychotic madness is? I don't know.
Right.
I'm not. And I think, obviously, the people, like the guy, the Vegas shooter, nobody knew, right? If nobody knew and he just did that, so there's a line that he can cross where he's capable of doing that. You don't know what that line
To
is,
some
right?
extent that they kill themselves.
My point is, we're not dealing with an exact science.
Yeah.
We're dealing with something that varies so widely.
Yes.
That
Yes.
For anyone
And
to
they
say
adjust the
that this is fine.
dosages depending on how you react to it.
The only reason why people are saying it's fine is because they make money from it. That's it. If they didn't make money from it, they'd be like, whoa. How many people are being prescribed what?
Yeah.
Why? Did you try exercise? You didn't. Okay, so you just took a pill. You're eating sugar all day and you just took a pill? Now everything's supposed to be
Did you
good?
check your hormones?
Did you do anything other than that?
Yeah. Your
Did you try
thyroid, your
medication?
hormones, any of that.
Try meditation? Did you try exercise? Did you try jogging? I want you to try jogging for 6 months, then I'll give you the pills.
Yeah.
But then again, is that hypocritical? If I think Coke should be legal, shouldn't I think that people should be able to take a pill?
Well, I think your objection to that is that there's an entire industry making lots of money and making claims about those psychotic those drugs,
Yes. And you know
those
what else my claim
psychosomatic,
is?
whatever the word is,
Yeah.
drugs, that maybe in many cases are not true. I'm sure that things like Prozac and Zoloft have their place.
Yes.
I'm sure they work for some people. I
Yes.
know, in fact, I have family members that really do well with Xanax.
And I do as well. And
but-
I know
yes.
people that it's
and
helped as
just
well.
like weed is good for some people and other people can't function. I can't really function on marijuana.
Talking pretty good right now.
Thank you, but yes, I am. But for the most part,
You're better on it.
It depends on your chemistry and your body. But I think what you're objecting to is that there is people who people are getting very, very wealthy.
Yes.
Certainly, companies on claims that are not measurable and not always true.
There's that.
Right.
But there's also the same reason why I don't think a 900-year-old dude should be able to fuck a 50-year-old lady. Because I think she's basically like a
Full
baby to him.
circle.
This is what I think. I think that people are too goddamn vulnerable and gullible. And when you have these commercials where there's people walking down the street and cartoon butterflies are flying around and they're all jolly, and you're selling antidepressants, and then you
Yeah.
start listing off explosive anal bleeding, heart blowing out of your fucking chest like the Alien movie, your
Right.
dick falls off, your feet go numb. You start reading off this thing while you're showing the same cheerful environment and crazy music. I think that alone shows you that there's a problem. Just
Yeah.
those commercials alone, the fact that they exist, the way they're structured,
Yeah.
the fact that they have to say all these horrific side effects for like a minute, 2 minutes of the commercial. It's a horrific side effect. A giant, like, if you have, like, legitimately have, and what is a commercial? 30 seconds? It's entirely possible that 15 of those 30 seconds are going to be the consequences
Yeah.
of you taking this drug while you're looking at cartoon bunny rabbits and wheat flying through the air and everybody's smiling
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of whistles and fucking piano and it seems like everybody's having a grand old time.
Yeah.
And they're talking about death and suicidal thoughts and psychotic episodes and come on.
If you want a really good insight into how Big Pharma works, read Ben Goldacre's book, Big Pharma. Fucking great
It's
book.
just-
Bad Pharma, I think it's called.
It's just money. And it's the same thing as all of it. It's tribalism. Because if you could look at your team, your pharmaceutical team, as being you against everybody else, you could figure out a way to sell fucked up drugs to people that you really shouldn't be selling them to.
I just have to say something.
You want to make money.
I have to say something because we're doing this podcast that my entire act right now, my new hour, is all about this. And everybody who's seen me knows that this is true.
That's
so I want to say
hilarious.
this because you're talking about teams and tribalism. The theme of my fucking next hour is exactly this, how we break up into teams. So I just don't want anybody to think that my next hour has been influenced by this fucking podcast because I love that you're thinking about the same thing I am.
Well, I think a lot of people are thinking about this now because
Yeah.
as we're running into this weird situation where we realize that, you know, our democracy is in some weird way being examined. Well,
It's being fractured, isn't it?
It's fractured. There's a lot of, but it's being examined by people.
Yeah.
that are looking at it from all sorts of different angles in an unprecedented manner. Right, and we're looking at the influence that Russia might have had, and all this. Bernie Sanders is going to run in 2020. There's so much going on right now. That's this intense, incredibly high level that we're all sort of like caught up in this thing, trying to figure out what's going to happen next.
It's also we're having really trouble knowing what to believe.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know what to believe and what to believe in. I mean, is this a bot? And what
Right.
is Twitter? I mean, if 6 people are saying you did something and that's it, how true is this? And if the stories are all remarkably similar, and now there's some consistencies, i.e., Charlie Rose, but what do we? It's a very interesting time because privacy is dead, yet we still don't really know what to believe. I mean, I'm getting information from 6 different sources. So who's actually telling me the truth about that person or that event? That's the biggest. That's to me
And that was
one of the
clickbaity
biggest
shit.
thing.
And when you
Yes.
add that to clickbaitiness, it gets real. It gets to be a real problem.
It creates cynicism and it creates
Yeah.
paranoia and it creates the idea that I can't rely on the institutions I used to be able to rely
Yeah,
on.
and there's also been an observed strategy of really inflated headlines that get altered later.
Yeah.
You know, they say something completely ridiculous. It's not really represented by the facts, and then they tone it down when people complain, but they got all the initial hits.
That's
from
right.
The first
well,
version
politics
of it.
is doing
Yeah.
that. You can sway a vote by floating things anonymously,
Yeah.
and then by the time it comes out that it's bullshit,
Right.
well, you've lost.
Well, it's also dirty to name stuff after important values like the Patriot Act.
Of course.
Like, hey, you fuck.
How do you vote against the Patriot Act? That's the Patriot.
Yeah,
You're not a patriot?
Exactly. Like, that's
course.
rude.
Of course.
That's rude. That's a rude, dirty trick. Like,
That's right.
somebody should have pointed that out.
David
if
Frum
somebody
did.
had any balls like that was on the Senate floor.
David Frum did.
Did he?
In
Good
a
for
book
him.
called Don't Think of an Elephant, I think it was called.
What year was this when he did
I
it?
read that a long time ago, but he basically talks about how language, if you learn how to manipulate language, it is very beneficial, man. You will. It's really interesting. I read there's interesting things about like our population. Do you know that I think it's 82% of Americans can't name one living scientist? Yet, if you ask, 82% of Americans will say that politicians should be talking to scientists. that even though they can't name one living scientist like Neil deGrasse Tyson or Stephen Hawking or
Right.
Lawrence Krauss. At the same time, there is a deep, not only mistrust, but also respect for science. In other words, hey, you politicians, listen to the fucking science. If there's a weapon out there if there's a technology that can reduce us all to dust, listen to those fucking guys. At the same time, I find it very interesting that science is still being questioned. Like, there's real questions on the right about the science behind climate change.
Right. Well, did you see what happened recently? It was in Texas, the recent rash of earthquakes. I tweeted about it today. Directly connected to fracking.
I'm sure.
100%.
But what was also interesting is that both sides, the left and right, speaking of tribalism,
Yeah.
the left doesn't want to hear anything about the difference, the scientific difference between men and women. That
No,
would be, and,
right.
and especially when you start talking about
Trans women.
the difference between male and female brains. Because what happens, if you're James Dannemore, is that what you're saying is that women are a victim to their biology and ultimately are not able to overcome certain things that men have
Talking
inherently.
about James
and vice
Damore,
versa. Yeah,
the guy from
same thing.
the Google Note.
Yes.
I just want to, for people
Yes,
to Google
yes.
the wrong guy. He's the Google memo guy.
Yeah, and I read that Google memo twice. And what's interesting is a lot of evolutionary psychologists and biologists basically said, well, what he was saying was just drawing on empirical evidence based on how, for example, a 48-month-old infant female and a 48-month-old male will look at if you give them a choice between looking at something moving and a human face, typically the 48-hour-old female will look at the face, the human face. The boy will look at the moving object.
What about lesbians?
I
What about
don't
if a
know.
kid is right out of the room like leather Tuscadero?
That's a
Remember
different
from
story with a mohawk
Happy
and
Days.
that I don't with a Theo Von haircut.
Don't you remember when Pinky Tuscadero came to town?
Yes, I
Like
do.
Leather was out of town.
Remember
and Pinky
this?
Came into town. Yeah, they did that thing when you had to learn it.
How do you remember that?
I remember that. We're the same age. We had to learn it in high school. You
Pinky
had to learn how to do that
Tuscadero. Pinky Tuscadero.
thing. You had to learn it, and once you learn it, you only learn how to do it one sided.
Are we 50 or what? Was that her?
Chick? Who's that chick?
No.
No, that's a new chick. Oh, that's her? That's what she
That
looks
was
like
Pinky
now?
Tuscadero?
Wow, that's what she looked like?
I didn't
That's
know.
Leather Tuscadero. That's Leather Tuscadero, and then there was Pinky.
Yeah, Pinky
Which
was
one's
different.
Pinky? Pinky was like a little tougher. She wore like a pink leather jacket.
She sure did. There she is. There
No,
she is.
she had her shirt like
was
tied
hot.
up. Whoa,
She was
she's
hot.
in like a dirty mom way.
Damn right. She was a fucking
Yeah.
dancer.
Woo! Look at her with Fonzie.
And look at
By the way,
Fonzie!
you want to talk about nicest guy on the planet? It might be Henry Winkler.
I've met him.
He's such
He's
a sweetie.
doll.
He's a sweetie.
He's a beautiful man.
He's a really, really nice guy.
Yes,
I
he
did
is.
a Kevin James movie with him.
You did?
Yeah. Guy could not have been nicer.
You know, I was supposed to do Kevin Can Wait. They offered me a part, but I was in New York and I couldn't do it because I was
I
doing
don't want to hear
Gotham
your
comedy.
fucking excuses, bro.
No, but I'm glad they're saying that because I feel bad because I miss Kevin. I really love him. He's a good
He's a
guy.
sweetie.
Have you talked to him lately?
No, I haven't, but I love that guy. I love Kevin.
And Leah Remini's on that show, right?
Yeah, she's back. She's a new wife. They
Damn.
Ditched. I don't know what happened. Scientology.
I love Leah.
When you mentioned Phil Hartman did some album covers, I found this.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did Asia. the
Dude, have you
most
heard?
popular
Have you
Steely
heard
Dan
Charles
album.
Manson's song? He did
This is-
Asia.
Yeah.
Get the
Badass.
fuck out of
From
here.
Steely Dan. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, whatever. What else do you have? 8 album covers designed by
Couple for
legendary comedian.
America
Yeah, that's right.
and Poco, which I'm not
Yep, he
familiar
did
with.
that.
Are you
yeah.
fucking kidding?
No, he was awesome, man. He was
Did you hear?
Look
I'm
at that.
sorry.
He did that.
Wow.
The Firesign Theater Fighting Clowns. Wow.
The CSN.
Damn, I want to get a
before-
print of that. Go back to that. See if we could find a print of that.
Fire Sign Theater. Fire
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Well, yeah, let's get a print of that and put it up in the studio. That'd
Did
be
you
pretty
hear
badass.
Charles Manson's song?
Did I hear about it? I jerked off to it. It's amazing.
Sir, please.
Sorry.
5'2",
Charlie man.
5'2", Charlie Manson.
Hey, I ate your garbage, man. You people held me down.
I played him on Mad TV.
Yeah, man.
That's right, baby. Without the
It's amazing that guy got so many people to follow him. But that's the thing. Like, 900-year-old people would not follow Charles Manson.
Man, stop talking about the 900-year-old people.
That's
That's
what
a
I'm
long way
saying.
off.
But that's the whole reason why, like,
You're right.
we are infants. We're just infants with a very short lifetime. Our
Well,
lifespan is quick.
let me ask you this.
Imagine if people look like... You ever look at a person from, like, the 1800s when they first started inventing photographs?
Yes.
You see a 25-year-old, like, oh, my God, he's almost dead. They look so old.
Yes.
They look
Yes.
so weathered. They look like they were just dirt had been
The
hitting
most
them in
eerie
the face.
pictures are when they would take pictures with their dead relatives.
Oh, yeah.
You ever seen that? When they had, this is my kid. They all died. And they would have pictures
They'd
of them
take
with them.
pictures with them. Oh. Yeah, those people, they died quicker. They looked like shit quicker.
But if you lived 800 years, this is what I think about. I don't think about developing that much understanding. I feel like I'd be like, all right, well, I guess I'll start the drums and then the guitar and then the piano, and I'll master those as well. And I would just figure out all the skills I'd master.
Let me tell you what you would be at 80 or 800 years old.
What?
You'd be living in a castle.
Yeah.
And you would basically be having young ladies come to the castle and you'd give them seminars on how to
They'd have to be
enjoy,
40,
how to
50.
enjoy
Like an
your
older
life.
woman. Yeah.
How to enjoy. Well, older woman because you're 800. They're gonna look hot as fuck, and they're still gonna be like kind of spiritual, but not really religious.
Yep.
And you're gonna fuck.
Yeah. I'd do that.
Fuck 'em all.
Would
They're
I
gonna
be
want you
over
to.
it though?
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Does it stop being awesome? Does sex stop being awesome? I think that's a crock of shit designed by people who don't want to fuck.
Me too.
One day it's going to be boring.
Me too, buddy.
One day.
Me too.
One day you're not going to like tits.
You're so right, man. I love tits.
One day you're not going to like dicks and mouths. One day it's going to be boring. Well, okay, maybe. But I don't see any evidence. I'm not seeing any evidence that that's real. I think you're making things up, and I'm not really interested in talking to you about this. So I find your fucking opinions are exhausting and they're boring. So you hang on to them.
Your opinions are exhausting and they're boring.
Yeah, so you hang on to them. You run with them. But I go, nah, I'm good.
Nah.
The base living, here's the thing. It's like there's this idea that there's like some higher level of thinking and then there's like base physical pleasures. That's not real. You have 100 years and then
Yeah.
you're dead.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to have
If you're
fun.
lucky, you got 100 years.
Just because you enjoy some very intellectual pursuits, it does not mean you should enjoy getting your drink on every now and then or doing something stupid or being silly or sex or anything. Or
What
even
would you
just
say to
hugging
yourself?
friends.
But what would you say to yourself right now if I put your 25-year-old or your 20-year-old body right there? What would you say to yourself right now?
Figure it out, bitch.
Really?
That's what I'd say. Yeah, you got to figure it out.
You're gonna make your mistakes.
What you're going to learn from someone, you're never going to learn from them sitting down
That's
saying,
right.
listen, you got to learn from me. What you're going to learn from someone is by example. What you're going to learn from someone is by someone out there like following a lead that you know is difficult and achieving
Repetition.
things that you think are very hard to achieve. And you watch that and you go, okay, what you got to do is you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You got to grit your teeth. You got to bear it down. You got to work hard. You got to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself about how hard you're working. And that's what a lot of people are not doing. That's what
You learn how, you're never
shit.
gonna learn how to slip a jab until you get punched in the face a bunch.
Well,
and
someone's
figure
going
it
to
out
show
at the
you
time.
how to do it, but to really learn
Yes.
it to the point where it's a part of your neural
Yes.
patterns.
Yes.
There's certain things that happen to people where you see them like slide their hips back. Like, oh, that's a guy who's been kicked in the stomach.
Yes.
Like he's
Well,
been kicked in the stomach so
wrestling's
many
that way.
times. Yeah, sure.
Where everything you do is a reaction. You don't have to think about it.
For
Jiu-jitsu,
sure.
same thing.
For sure. Yeah. Those pathways get carved in. And by the way, those pathways can be really shitty too. You can have a bunch of shitty pathways carved into your head.
That ensure your failure.
It ensure your failure. It ensure you're questioning yourself and also blaming a bunch of other people. You gotta like. You know how like people are supposed to edit? You're supposed to edit like when you make a document. You're supposed to edit when you write a book.
Yeah.
You should also edit your thoughts.
100%.
You can't just let them all run wild.
Right.
You can't because some of
Right.
them are really like impulsive and they're not well fabricated.
Right.
And if you try to defend those fucking stupid thoughts, you're going to be like what we were talking about with conspiracy
and
theorists.
learn what not to listen to.
Yeah.
Where that's the other thing. Not all fucking ideas are on the same plane.
No.
There are a lot of people you shouldn't be listening to.
Yes.
And if you want to be really good at something, find the right tutor. There's a big difference between Rafael Cordero and, if you want to learn how to kickbox or whatever, and that dude over there.
Right, right. Yeah, if you can.
Well, yeah, if you have good guidance and tutelage is really important.
It is. What's interesting now is that people that don't have access to good guidance and tutelage still have access to online.
I was going to say, you got the Gracie University, you got YouTube, you got Hensel Gracie giving you little things. I mean, come
Eddie
on.
Bravo has this whole system, 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu system. It's all available online. You can learn all the moves. And if you're in a small town, Eddie has over, I want to say, go to 10thplanetjujitsu.com, 10thplanetjj.com. I want to say he has more than 80 students, more than 80 studios worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I think he has more than 80 schools. So and they put up a lot of the data of like the stuff they're doing and stuff they're working on, drills and things. A lot of it's online. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What does it say? Look at the fucking...
That's incredible,
Look at the
Eddie.
success, son.
10th Planet
Look at the
Jiu-Jitsu.
success.
I hope he's charging a lot to license that.
He's making money, trust me. We'll talk later. Look at this, though. Look at this. This is insane.
That's amazing.
He's got
That's a huge accomplishment.
A crazy number of people that follow his jiu-jitsu.
Maybe he is right about his conspiracy.
Nope, but he's definitely right about jiu-jitsu. The chemtrail thing is another one. Like he clung to that for a long time. He'll put something up on his Instagram page. I know why he believes that, because he doesn't believe in the government. But my position is, I get that, and I don't trust a lot of people either. But you have to trust the people that are scientists that are all agreeing that if a fucking jet engine that's heated up goes through condensation in a certain atmosphere, it creates artificial clouds.
It's called being responsive to evidence.
It is, and it's also like you can't mock that. Like that, it's very important if you're going to get anywhere with any of this stuff.
Especially when it's on your wrist and in your hand.
And you're going to have to
especially when you're listening
out.
to it like this. There's science measurable science that works, right? So the science that goes into your earphones, that goes into the vaccines and antibiotics that push you beyond your biology, the science that gets fresh food in front of you, all that shit is you're benefiting from that. And usually the science that you don't believe in is the same science you're actually using to speak into.
Well, that's the argument we were having yesterday, that it's so ridiculous that anybody would have an issue with the highest minds in the world deciding whether or not things are real and things are not real, and what is and what isn't.
Well, he thinks somebody's getting paid or something.
Well,
it's really weird.
I don't know what he believes. We could sit him down and talk to him about it, but my point about all of it was that the very genius that allows him to like shut down jiu-jitsu attacks. Like, he doesn't recognize jiu-jitsu attacks as like, well, this is valid too. No, he's like, shut that shit down and move forward. And it's one of the reasons why he's so good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's so good at jiu-jitsu because he doesn't like recognize your attack as valid.
God,
he shuts
amazing.
that shit down and he moves. It's really interesting,
That's
because
amazing.
he's Eddie Bravo is an undeniable jiu-jitsu genius.
Ivan Salveri. You know Ivan Salveri?
Sure.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Salveri. Say his name right.
I'm sorry.
Have some respect.
Shout out to Ivan. I went and he gave me a lesson in. It was so awesome.
He's a bad motherfucker.
I went to Seattle in a school.
He's the only guy in the UFC that has a submission. I think maybe one other person might have it now, but for the longest time, he was the only guy that had a body triangle rear mount submission where he got Tony Fricklin he got his back.
Yeah.
And when you flatten somebody out and you have someone in a body triangle.
Yeah.
It's so fucking brutally painful that Tony Fricklin tapped. He was the first guy ever to tap from a body triangle. And I remember I watched him do that, and I was like, oh, wow, because I knew that hurt. But I didn't know if someone would tap from it in a UFC fight. I was like, whoa.
For a guy like me, he's probably 43, 44 now, and he said he invited me to school. I was just so psyched, and he was going to teach me tricks and just like in-close fighting, dirty boxing.
Right.
And he put Vaseline on me.
Watch
I was
this,
like, what's
right
going
here.
on here? Yeah.
See, he gets a body triangle and
Jesus
flattens him
Christ.
out, and he's tapping
Look
from
at
a
him
body
talking.
lock.
He's awesome.
It's so painful.
He's such a great guy. Look at him. He's from Chile.
Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker, and he's got a rooster tattooed on his ribs.
Yes, he does. And it was funny because he came to my show, and then the next day I got in the ring with him, and he put grease on me, and we're just doing little things with gloves. And when it's for a man like me, who's basically 170 pounds and nothing compared, and when you feel that a man who's been throwing bodies around his whole life and punching, and it's been his life, and he's probably about 220, maybe 230, and he's a little heavier than when he used to fight, but the strength and just the density of his body as you're fucking trying to do anything, and he just moves you. He kind of shucks you around with his hips.
Fighter.
Yeah. It's so
legit.
humbling.
And he's super technical too.
Oh fuck, he's so technical.
Ivan was like super technical.
Did I tell you?
There's a picture of him. Hold on a second. There's a picture of him and Maurice Smith being held court and me with Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy is explaining something called the Chicago Ridge Hand. That's like a technique, a karate technique that people aren't using enough in MMA. And he's kind of right. It's a ridge hand is where you would hit someone with the side of your hand. Do you ever know a ridge hand? Do you ever practice that?
No.
It's a karate move. You don't know about that shit.
No, I don't know shit.
Karate move is a ridge hand. It's like this. This is Eddie Murphy. That's Ivan Salivary to the right of the table, and the black bald-headed dude is Maurice Smith.
Come on.
Yep.
You got two bad You got two killers at the table.
And then I'm back behind this stuff. I'm on this side of it. But it was Charlie Murphy explaining.
Yes.
Y'all don't know shit about the Chicago
Look at
Ridge
Ivan.
Hand.
Ivan's so cool.
Oh, well, Charlie was holding court. Charlie was so funny. Like, I don't think people that never got to hang out with Charlie ever really get to understand how funny Charlie was.
I heard he was a great storyteller.
He's an amazing storyteller. But he just would hold court and you would let him. You would fall to the ground laughing. He was just he was great at like being the guy who told the story the best.
Wow.
And but it didn't translate in a stand-up as much as it should have, and this is what I think happened. I think he jumped into stand-up like way too quick and was headlining like really early. Like he didn't do like the whole thing like we all did, like do the open mic night and then start doing. No, dude, he was headlining like that.
Whoa.
He was Charlie Murphy from the Chappelle Show.
Oh, so he hadn't done stand-up before that.
Yes, he had never done stand-up.
Can't do it.
So he figured out how to wait. I mean, he did it, and he figured out, but I don't think he ever. I think if you had allowed Charlie Murphy to develop the way we all did,
yes,
from open micer to middle act to headliner to he would have been a world-class assassin.
Yeah.
And he died as still a very funny comedian, and he was headlining all over the world.
Did you know he was sick when you were hanging out with him?
No, he was sick when I was hanging out with him.
He had leukemia or some kind of strange blood thing?
That all happened after I'd seen him. I hadn't seen him in a while. He did my podcast in like 2000, I want to say in 12, somewhere around then, maybe 13. Him and my friend Freeze Love.
Did you ever meet Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, I met Eddie in Hawaii once, just randomly. It was funny. It was the craziest thing ever.
Really?
It's like, he knows who I am? Like, this is so bizarre.
That's cool.
Dude, he goes, you're a funny motherfucker. I went, ah!
Get the fuck out of here.
He reached out and grabbed my hand. He gripped it. He goes,
I had Bobby,
you're a funny motherfucker.
Bobby, who was married to Whitney Houston?
Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown came up to me the other day in the comedy store and told me some crazy shit.
Bobby Brown came up to me. I was getting my ticket, and I was flying from I can't remember where, and he came up and he goes, "You're a funny dude, man. You make me laugh a lot." And he was shaking my hand. And I didn't realize who it was until somebody came up and said, "You know who that was, right?" I go, I don't. And he goes, that was Bobby Brown. I go, fuck that. He looked familiar. And then I sat next to him.
Did you start singing the songs to him? Every little step I take will be together. Did you?
No.
He was the first dude to rock the microphone on the side of his face.
Really?
Headset, son.
Oh,
Who had a headset before Bobby fucking Brown?
And he was dancing.
Who the fuck had a headset before Bobby Brown? He was like pushing the technology.
Yep.
Right? And then Christopher Titus started doing it on stage.
Really?
And I said, no.
No.
Titus does it still, I think. He has like a little microphone. Does the whole thing. Walks and talks like this. You've done like Letterman. There he is. Look at him.
Yeah.
Bobby Brown. Got a full-on headset, son.
I mean, I didn't realize how rich he was. Is he still super rich? Must be.
What am I, his accountant? Look at that picture of him with the headset on, though.
Remember
go
the
to another
keyboard?
Picture. Dude, this is like a guy, if you were trying to get your iMac fixed and you had to call India.
Dude, please look. Please dilate on that right there. You kidding me with that tank top? You tuck that tank top on and you get that jacket off your shoulders.
Go big.
By the way, That's what.
That's a gay porn if I ever
it
seen
sure
one.
is. And look at those awesome
prerogative.
wristbands.
Why else did you have wristbands on unless you were there to stop
So your
cum?
hands don't get all sweaty when you're.
No, when you have lube all over your hands, it doesn't get into your elbows.
You're damn right, brother. You're damn right. You're damn right. Can't have lubed up elbows.
Bobby Brown, don't be mad. We're just joking around. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. My prerogative, bitch.
He's awesome.
Right? That was a great fucking song. He had some amazing shit. It's a
don't
bad
know.
motherfucker. But that does look gay.
By the way, I like.
But
I
not-
like when
not that
anybody
there's anything wrong with that.
recognizes me. I love it. So
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I'm not a cool celebrity. I'm not a
Yeah,
celebrity.
come on, buddy. I'm tired of you saying this. You're hurting my feelings.
What?
You're a cool celebrity.
Thanks, buddy.
If I wasn't friends with you, I'd be psyched to be friends with you.
I like hearing
I'd
that,
be like,
buddy.
this guy's
That's the
crazy.
attitude I'm looking
He's
for out of
fun.
you, young man.
Like, he's silly.
Damn
It's a
right.
good time. That's what I'm serious. I would be looking forward to hanging out with you.
Thanks, buddy.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Want to
Stay-
talk about your dates? Don't you have a lot of comedy dates coming
Oh,
up?
I'll be at
Ooh.
Cobb's December 7, 8, and 9.
shit.
And then at the Schaumburg Improv the
Is this
weekend
real?
after that, December, 14th, 15th, 16th,
Is this
something
real?
like that.
Is this real?
Uh-huh. Oh, and you guys, please go see Brendan Schaub, my brother.
At the Wiltern Theater the night
The
before
Wilbur,
the
right?
UFC.
The Wilbur,
Wilbur.
in
Wiltern
Boston.
is in Boston.
Yeah, in Boston. The night January 19th. January
Yes.
19th, Brendan Schaub, the Wilbur Theater
Night
in
before
Boston.
the UFC.
Don't miss it. He's doing
Yeah.
good stuff, and he's writing all kinds of funny
Yeah,
shit.
so people asking me if I'm doing stand-up the night before that UFC, no. But I will be there for that UFC. But maybe I'll be hanging out with Brendan.
There you go.
I'll be heckling.
Maybe you'll open for him. Maybe you do a little fucking.
Do a little time.
Maybe do a little 15 minutes.
Don't talk about jokes over here.
Do a couple jokes. We'll do a couple jokes. I don't even know who I'm playing right now.
You're playing a guy, like an old
I'm playing a guy who's got
Sopranos type
a
guy.
high voice.
How do those
You and I are at the
Italian
Comedy Store
actors
tonight, aren't
eat? Yeah,
We're hanging out.
we are hanging out.
Yeah,
tonight.
the party continues.
Who else is there?
Crystalia, me,
Dalia,
you, Schaub.
Schaub, and someone else. Someone else really funny too. No, quite a few. It's like a good lineup.
Uh-huh.
It's the Sam Tripoli show, Comedy Chaos.
Oh,
he calls
excellent.
it. Yeah, he's got a very good lineup. I
I
think
love
there's
Sam.
one or two other comedians on that show.
Russell's on it.
Russell Peters in the house.
my main man.
Someone else?
Felipe Esparza.
Oh shit! Felipe's coming.
He's amazing.
He's hilarious. So
love him.
those are the other two that I was remembering.
Felipe. That's a good lineup right
it's a
there.
Great goddamn lineup. I think
Bring the
that's eight-
stitches
there
for
it
your
is.
sides, you
There
fucks.
it is. Woo! Oh, Eleanor Kerrigan. Fuck yeah.
Very funny. I love Eleanor.
Eleanor is one of the funniest people alive, and
Love her.
used to be a waitress. She
Yep.
was a waitress at the Comedy Store for years.
Yep.
And she was the girl that I would go to when someone would tell me, this guy's really funny. I'd go, Eleanor, is that guy really funny? And she'd go, "Pfft, fucking
Yeah.
hack.
Eleanor is a wonderful human being and reminds me of the women in my family. So I have a very soft spot for her because she's Italian, I think.
Is a soft spot.
I don't know if she's Italian, but either way, I love her.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love
Thanks,
her too.
guys.
She's Irish. Her name's
That's,
Kerrigan.
that's
you
true,
fucking
actually.
idiot.
She's Italian. Yeah, that's
Jesus
true. Isn't that
Christ.
isn't that her married name though?
No.
I feel like she's Italian. Okay.
Nope. It's Eleanor Kerrigan. That's her name.
She's from the Italian side of Ireland.
What?
You don't
This
know.
is not real.
You don't
this
know.
is not real.
The Eleanor's an Italian name.
Nobody appreciates Dom Herrera more than the Irish.
You ever
Dom
say
Herrera
about,
is
you ever
over
say
in
what Dom
Dublin
Herrera, Dom
all the
Herrera
time.
said one time? Me and Dov were talking to these young, very pretty girls at the upstairs in the Laugh Factory, and he's taking a piss next to Dov, and he goes, "Are those girls good looking?" And Dov goes, "Yeah, you couldn't tell." And he goes, "No, I mean at that age, when they're that young, they can have a goat head. I'm still attracted to them."
Dom Herrera is a guy that's still swinging. Like we all have this idea that a certain comedian age, like when you get into your 60s, you're not going to write new material anymore. He's always writing.
Killing.
He's always killing. And he's killing when he sits next to you. He'll pull over and sit next to you and go, "Oh, look at you queers." Like, he'll just find a way to
Never
just
tell you what
say
he
the
did to
right
me.
thing.
What he tells me, he goes
What?
like this. He goes, "I did a set. I done really well, whatever." And he goes, Brad, come over here. I was like, "Oh, this is when I didn't know him that well." I go, "Well, what's up, Don?" He goes, "You know what I like about you as a comedian?" I was like, "What?" So excited. He goes, "You don't really go for the laughs." I was like, "Fuck off."
That's where he lives. He lives in the joking with other comedians. It's like Dom Herrera, in my opinion, is the best guest ever on Kill Tony. You ever see him on Kill Tony?
No, I'm sure he's great.
He's magical. He's magical.
Yeah.
Like I've done it with him. He's magical because
He's so professionally funny.
He's so professionally funny, but also there's a bunch of comedians that he's making laugh. Like that's what Dom Herrera is the best at. So it's me and him and Red Band and Tony, and then the comedian who does the set, and then the audience who are comedy nerds.
Yeah.
So it's like Dom Herrera is just coming in there fucking with 6 guns loaded. Pew, pew,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, that's his. He's like
He's got an arsenal.
Yeah, if I was Tony Hinchcliffe, I would fire everybody else, and I would say the
Just
Kill
have
Tony
Don-
show is Dom Herrera is there, and then another guest. Like it's always Dom Herrera.
We got to have him on The Fighter and the Kid. We haven't had him in a
Never
long
had him?
time. No, a long time ago. He couldn't make it. I can't remember what it was.
the
I got to get him
fuck,
on.
bro?
I fucking love him.
Get it? Who's your least favorite guest?
On the
Fighter and the Kid.
On The Fighter and the Kid.
Yeah.
My least favorite guest.
Don't tell me. Let's just keep this show
I don't
positive.
know. I don't even. I can't
You know
remember.
something? You ask someone a question, you hope they don't answer. This is one of those times.
Some people just kind of like just don't come to
What?
play.
Oh, like they don't know what they're doing.
They just don't come. They might be having an off day. If I don't pee right now, I'm gonna die. How do you not have to pee? God, you're impressive.
keeping it all
Got
right
a
there.
huge bladder.
Go ahead, dude.
I'm gonna go
piss.
pee out of my huge dick, and I'll be
piss.
right back.
Jamie and I will talk about LeBron James.
All right, don't talk about me
Yeah.
now.
Tell me things, Jamie. Is there a
He's
new
having
sneaker?
He does have a new sneaker out.
Wow. Do they have one every season?
Yeah, he's got 2 different pairs. He also has his own imprint label on Nike, which is
that's a baller move.
he sponsors Ohio State.
That's like
which
if
is,
Conor McGregor starts co-promoting with the UFC, like it takes it to the next level, right?
Did you hear anything about Conor yesterday? I don't know if
No.
it's rumors or not.
What?
He got into a fight in a pub or something. And I just saw
that's
like
terrible.
random shit about it. I don't know if it was even accurate or
Yeah,
not.
that's the problem with keeping it real.
But yeah.
You know, if you want to keep it real and hang with the people, eventually someone's going to test you. Someone like you were when you were 20. You know, maybe.
For sure.
I don't know if Conor was into that. I assume he wasn't because he's a winner. But, man, that absolutely can happen if you want to be out there. Again, hashtag keep it real.
He's balling too.
Yeah, hashtag balling.
Yeah.
I mean, he's walking around with expensive watches, these beautiful David August suits on. He wears these tailored suits everywhere. He has these super expensive shoes and watches.
How many other Lambos are driving around Ireland too? Lots.
That's a
Or,
good point.
You know,
That's a good
his.
point. That's a good point. Yeah, he's balling out of control. I wonder what it'd take him. I mean, now that he had that big crazy fight at the fight where he jumped over the fence and pushed the referee, Mark Goddard, I wonder what it would take to get him back in the cage now. Like, I wonder if there's going to be fines and suspensions. I wonder what the fuck is going to happen. This is quite fascinating. But I'll tell you one thing. He makes things fun. He does. He makes things fun with Oscar De La Hoya's hitting the heavy bag on. He should say that he'll fight Oscar De La Hoya, but only if Oscar agrees to wear a skirt. You got to wear a skirt, and you got to wear fishnet stockings, and I'll fucking fight you.
I think there's anything still too. I heard Roy Jones is still trying to fight Silva, which I don't know. Is there any? Not that it's going to
I
happen. or
hope
anything, but,
Anderson
like,
does not take that bait.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roy Jones is. I mean, you see what happened when Floyd fought Conor, and Conor's in his prime. You know, and I'm not saying that Roy Jones is in his prime, but he's still very active. He still fights. Roy works out all the time, and he knocked out some amateur boxer, MMA fighter last year. He had some fight. Remember that? Like there was like a contest to see who gets to fight him.
Yeah.
He KO'd that guy with one punch.
Did Anderson get suspended for his? Yeah. So
Yeah, Anderson's going to be suspended for quite a while.
Really?
Yeah. Once if he indeed is guilty, let me just preface that. If he indeed is guilty, and they don't have any reason to believe he's not.
What's your what do you think is the move for Conor McGregor? Should he fight Manny Pacquiao or Tony?
bathtub made of gold and fill it with diamonds and just walk off until I get tired of doing it every day.
I'm crapping my jokes.
I'd be fucking drinking. I'd be drinking straight Irish whiskey.
Notorious
I would-
Irish whiskey.
I'd drink a fucking gun barrel full of Viagra. A huge gun barrel.
A gun
and
barrel.
I'd make my way to the pub and just start shooting rounds off.
That's not a bad Irish. It's not a good. It's not a good Conor McGregor accent, but it's a good Lucky Charms
I
accent.
would hire the most beautiful, huge volleyball player women to just carry me everywhere. Yeah, just get giant, super athlete women to just carry you everywhere.
Do you think he fights Tony Ferguson or does he fight
That's the move.
Manny Pacquiao?
It used to be not the move, but I think Tony Ferguson, I think Eddie Bravo had a real good point about it when he and me and Brendan talked about it. I think Tony Ferguson is the right move as far as for the fans. I think
Over Manny?
yeah, I don't think that's smart. I think if he wants to do a boxing match. The real smart move would be fight an MMA fight and then fight a boxing match in a year. But I think that the Khabib Nurmagomedov fight, you really got to see Khabib fight somebody else first. And the Nate Diaz fight, although it could be huge, Nate's not really fighting anybody right now. What I would like right now, this is my thought. I think if Nate comes back and fights someone and wins, Conor fights someone and wins, Conor has a boxing match, they have a huge MMA fight after that. Yeah. Fucking huge! God damn it! I mean, 3 million pay-per-view buys, huge, gigantic.
Well, yeah,
Nate
but he's got to get
Diaz
through Tony
versus Conor
Ferguson
McGregor.
first.
Yes, that's the fight he's got to get through.
Yeah.
But
that's a big fight.
He might not even have to get through that. If he can lose, but lose in a respectable manner, like lose a very close 5-round decision where it's like a nail biter, where at the end of the round, and no! And then Tony Ferguson drops to the ground and Conor's like, fuck! And then there's like controversy.
Yeah.
I thought Conor won. And then the pundits will debate it online. If he can lose a fight like that, yes. But if Tony lights him up, cracks him, Darce chokes him, puts him out in the first round, and then spits on his dick, yeah.
Yikes.
Then the Nate Diaz fight isn't worth a lot. But
yeah,
if he can do that, he's so loved by Ireland that he could almost do anything.
Yeah.
You know, like Daniel Cormier said this to me. We were at a fight. It was in between while we were doing the stand-up thing. Where, like, you know, they set you up with the microphones and you give your analysis about the upcoming main event, that kind of shit. And we're looking at each other and he goes, he doesn't lose anything when he loses. He goes, that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
He goes, he loses a fight and the support is exactly where it is, if not more.
That's right.
He's like, I've never seen anything like it.
Well, I think they applaud his courage. He's just so brave. Like, he just puts it on the line,
There's
dude.
definitely that. There's
He
definitely
backs
that.
up what he says, which is
definitely
fucking
that.
crazy. The fact that he came back and beat Nate, because I said to Brendan after I saw him lose the first time, I go, Nate's just too big for him.
Yeah.
It's just too big. Came back, beat him.
Yes.
And then knocks out in the first round, knocks out Eddie Alvarez.
Second
Round,
But
sorry.
lit him up in the
Sorry.
first round. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, I was like, what the fuck,
I think it was
man?
the second round, wasn't it? I want to say second round. I want to say he made it to the. I want to say they were coaching
It's
him
just
in between
fascinating,
rounds.
man. It's like to see him kind of back it up. That's what they applaud, just his courage and his spirit.
It's also he's a great shit talker.
Yes.
That's a big part
Yes.
of it. He's
Yes.
fun to listen to. Who the fuck
Look
is
at the way
that
he
guy?
dresses. Look at the way he dresses too, dude.
Second round? Yeah.
Khabib needs to fight at 170. There, I said.
Well, you say that, but he's got a new nutritionist, and Cormier was telling me that he's having way less problems with his weight now.
He's
And that
205.
No, he's not anymore.
Okay.
No, that he's in the 170s now.
Really?
Yeah. That he's like way lighter now than he's ever been any time close to a fight. And that he'll have way less problem making weight for this fight. They've got him on a very strict nutrition
Really?
schedule now. Yes.
Because he's fighting. You know,
I'm just saying what his teammate, my coworker, Daniel Cormier, tells me.
His training
assuming
partner
he's
is
telling me
Luke
the truth.
Rockhold. Luke
Yeah.
walks around at 215. You know, I've listened.
Yeah,
guys,
but him
listen,
being so
I've
big
sparred
doesn't
both
make,
of them.
it doesn't make Nurmagomedov bigger. You understand how that works, right?
You're right. No, but never like he looks. Like, Luke posted a picture of him training with Khabib, and I was like, "Who's the giant?" And it was
He's a
Khabib.
stud. Like, he's one of the most impressive grapplers I've ever seen in MMA.
Yeah,
Its ability to take guys who are very good, you know, like Rafael dos Anjos, and just sort of ragdoll them. Like,
wow, his wrestling is
yeah, it is.
fucking-
It is. It's stunning.
It's a different kind of wrestling.
Because I think Dos Anjos is better now than he was during that fight, but it doesn't matter. It's like the way he did it to him. It's like, man, if there's levels where it's hard to tell with MMA because striking's involved. When striking's involved, you don't get to see the pure grappling level. Right. But what I was seeing when I was seeing just pure grappling, I was seeing strength, endurance, technique. It was just like 30%. Like they're stacked up on Nurmagomedov's
if he
side.
gets a hold of you, you're not getting him off.
That Michael
Nobody
Johnson
ever
fight?
nobody gets him off. Look at the size of Khabib right there.
Yeah, but
Now that might be the camera angle, but
it could be. But he's he's in front, but he's he's not cutting weight right there, or if he is, he's halfway into the game.
yeah.
He's a monster, man.
He
He's a
does.
monster.
I think he does really well at 72. That's all I'm saying.
He posted something on his Instagram. This is to show you why this motherfucker's so hard and why all those people from Dagestan are so hard. He posted something on his Instagram of one of his friends who'd been tortured.
No.
Posted photos of his friend who had his stomach cut open. Yeah, he posted on his Instagram. This guy. There's two photos. There's this photo and then there's the next one. And this guy had his stomach cut open. They were torturing him about something, and there's a translation. You can like translate all of it, but it has something with him saying that someone was wrongly accused. They were trying to get him to confess, but the point is, this is a UFC #1 contender, or at least #2 in the lightweight division, one of the most talent-stacked divisions in the world, and he's posting stuff on his page about how hard his environment is.
That's
to the
where he
point
comes
where
from.
people are being tortured. Yeah, when he gets in there, his mind. I mean, you're fighting, literally fighting.
Yes.
Like he calls himself the eagle. He's like a fucking eagle.
Yes.
I mean, he's fucking ferocious when he gets in there, and he's at a level of grappling. Like, man, he's been doing it his whole life.
Crazy.
And at an intense, super primal level. So intense, real technical, super knowledgeable about wrestling and jiu-jitsu and submissions.
I think Daniel said that it took, like he
strong.
did. They basically tussled for 15 minutes. Daniel, the Olympian.
Yeah, he said he was hand fighting with him. He's like, whoa, shit. It's like he's a beast. Nurmagomedov is a beast. And when you see him get a guy like Michael Johnson down on the ground and just own him, he owned him. And he was saying, look, I'm sorry I got to do this to you, man, but you got to tap. Like, I need my title shot.
Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, he was beating the fuck out of him, man. He was just holding him down and pounding on him.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me to watch because one thing I'm impressed with Michael Johnson's complete unwillingness to tap. Just like beat me up, keep beating me up. He just was fighting through it, and then eventually got Kimura'd. But it was just ruthless, man.
Yeah.
It was ruthless. And the control that he had on him, just his arm tied up and just beating the shit out of him. I was like, wow. Like this guy's there's certain positions where you see a guy is so much better at a guy that he's not than a guy that the guy who's holding down is just not going to get up. It's not going to get up. It's a matter of time before he gets beaten into unconsciousness.
That's right.
But
I feel that way with Jacare is the same way. When Jacare gets on top of you or gets you down, unless you're Yoel Romero, we'll see you later.
Yeah, see how he's got his right arm tied up? He just clamps down on his wrist, and his right arm became a one-armed defensive guy.
He's just a guy who's been fighting his whole, like wrestling his whole life.
He's so fucking
And it's details.
strong.
It's fucking details, though. It's where his hips are. It's all the minutia, the micro movements.
It is.
That and he weighs. He probably feels like he weighs 300 pounds.
I'm sure.
Like those wrestlers like that, like when you tussle with a guy who's been doing it his whole life, he can tap you if you're a regular guy by putting his weight on you. After a while, you'll just tap with his shoulder.
Speaking of which, Ben Askren is going to be on the podcast.
Oh boy.
I'm working it out with Ben Askren. Going to get him out here finally. I've been a Ben Askren ball rider.
He's a killer
for several years. Not technically a dick rider.
Ball rider.
More of a ball rider.
Because the dick is so deep in you.
It's just
that now you're riding his balls.
It's over there. I hold on to the balls. I look up at the dick. Like,
how much does he weigh? What is he?
He fights at 170.
Okay, so he's 170. I thought he was 50 or something.
He cut some weight for sure, but I don't think he cuts a lot of weight. I mean, he's not one of the bigger guys in the division. He's just super technical with his wrestling.
Who's his? Where did he learn?
Well, he is a fucking serious world-class amateur wrestler. I mean, do you know? Before.
I thought he was just jiu-jitsu.
No, Ben Askren. Pull up Ben Askren's record. You can see his collegiate wrestling record. He was a fucking monster.
How about that hair?
Powerful Missouri. Look at that.
Wow.
If you pull up his record, though, his Wikipedia record, and he does a lot of work with a lot of Duke Rufus's guys, too.
Yeah.
He's
always been a corner man. I've always seen him at the UFCs.
Yeah, he had some sort of an issue with post-Olympic career. So like, what is Olympic Games? Yeah, he was in Beijing.
Wow.
What did he win in the Olympics? He lost one, and he won one. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Phenomenal wrestler. I mean, just phenomenal. And he's retiring undefeated as a mixed martial artist. He just, I think he just beat Aoki. I think that was his retirement fight.
Wow.
He won another contest after the Olympics to Dave Schultz Memorial International. He won.
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah, probably.
Silver medal, or he defeated a silver medalist in another tournament.
Jesus.
Interesting. Go to his MMA career because I want to see who he just beat for his retirement fight because he just had his retirement fight. Yeah, Shinya Aoki, who at one point in time was one of the most exciting submission guys in the world, and he was
he's the one who fought Nick Diaz, right?
Did Shinya
Didn't he
Aoki
get tapped out by Nick Diaz?
Maybe.
Wait,
He used to wear tights. That's
is he still fighting though? Are you saying that was recent?
Yeah, Aoki just fought Ben Askren.
I didn't know Ben Askren was still fighting. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, this was his retirement fight. He just had it like last week.
Wow.
Yeah, I sent him a congratulations, and I said, let's do a podcast.
Does he have a twin brother, or am I thinking of Matt Hughes?
You're thinking of Matt Hughes. Yeah.
Are you sure? I
Yeah,
think Ben
maybe he
Askren
does
might
too.
have a twin brother too.
He might as well. I don't know.
But let me ask you this: how is Matt Hughes doing? Do you know?
He's doing better, apparently. They're really excited about his progress. You know, he was in a coma for quite a while.
Yeah.
Apparently what they're saying is that he thought that he could make it across the tracks, and that if he waited, the train takes like 10 minutes to go. Like, it's a fucking giant-ass train. So he took a chance, and he hit some gravel, and he
You know what he
wasn't
said
able
to
to
me?
accelerate.
I worked with him on Warrior, and you know what he said to me?
What?
He goes, I just hope I can put my shoes on, put my own shoes on when I'm 70. Because we were talking about head trauma, and he worries about it. He says, I worry about all the time.
He should, you know. And towards the end of his career, he developed a compromised chin. That's the best way to put it. Like you could see, like
doesn't everybody?
BJ Penn knocked.
Doesn't your brain shut
everybody
down?
does. Everybody does. Chuck Liddell, who had probably one of the greatest chins of all time, he exhibited it later in his career.
Yeah.
He just couldn't take shots anymore.
Because your body goes, oh, I've been here before. See you later, and shuts down.
Yep.
Makes sense.
And
That's incredible.
even a guy who is as just rock solid, ferocious as Chuck Liddell, he used to walk through bombs. Guys would just throw bombs on him. He'd walk through them. At the end of his career, he could not do that anymore.
God, it's so interesting how a lifetime of fighting makes you more fragile. You know.
Yeah, I mean, your body's just not designed for that.
Brendan
maybe
did
if
an
he went-
X-ray of his face,
Oh yeah.
and he has micro fractures all through his face.
Oh my god.
And he said, and the doctor said it's very common with fighters and football players.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just cracks all through your mass.
Oh my god. Of course.
Yeah.
You think about Brendan sparring Shane Carwin all the time, just getting mugged.
How about getting punched full on and having his nose shattered by a crow cop?
It was an elbow, in fact.
Yeah, and still coming back.
Blam.
Yeah, took
Oh.
some good shots from Big Country before he got hit behind the ear.
Yeah.
If you watch that fight, boom.
Ben Rothwell KO'd him. Boom.
Ugh.
Big Ben. He's another guy. Like, what happened with him? He got caught with something, right?
Yeah.
Man.
Askren does not have a twin brother.
Not twin. but
No? He's got a brother?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There you go. The Askren brothers. I think one of the things that, I mean, when you're talking about the fucking athletes that we're dealing with today, you know, you're talking with like what they're experiencing. I think with medical science, I bet like in 50, 60 years, we're going to be looking back and they're going to be going, God damn, man, these people couldn't even take blah, blah, blah to fix their problem. They couldn't even go to the blah, blah, blah machine to fix their brain. Like, they just had to have bad brains. Like,
Remember
man.
what Robert Sapolsky said in your podcast? Last thing he said I thought was amazing. He says, we learn more. What do you think is going to happen? He said, I think in like 20, 30, 40 years, we're going to go, my God, look at the way we treated people who killed and who did things that were impulsive. Their brains were just fucked up, and we didn't know how to fix them.
Well, not just that. He was not just talking about their brains being fucked up. He was saying that the idea of free will is a ridiculous concept that's ingrained in the psyche of the American people in particular. And
Well, it's a Christian idea.
Yeah, but it's also that you, as a scientist, the way he looks at things, I mean, he's boiling things down to the fucking the very atomic level.
Yeah.
And he's essentially saying that your behavior has been determined by your environment, by your genes, by the experiences that you've had, by all the things that you've
Your
learned.
prefrontal cortex may not be as developed because you grew up poor and under a lot of stress.
Yes.
So you make impulsive decisions.
Lack of nutrition.
The guy who kidnapped that girl I was
environmental-
talking about, the young girl had 2 kids with her when she was 13 for 18 years.
Yeah.
His father said that he had a motorcycle accident. He was a normal kid, and then he had a motorcycle accident. He was never the same. His whole personality
That's
changed.
the Kinnison story. Kinnison got hit by a truck.
Oh, wow.
Kinnison was one kid. Sam Kinnison got hit by a truck, and then he's like, ow, ow, woo,
Wow.
fucking yeah.
Wow.
Fat gut kicking over fucking
Do you know what
bar
else changes your
stools.
personality, they say sometimes, which is fascinating?
Jerking off in your own mouth.
Almost. That would be
I heard
traumatic.
that changes your personality.
That would be traumatic. For a little bit, it does,
Get a little
until you
humble.
end up liking it. But here's what really changes. You're having a heart operation.
Oh, that makes sense.
That was so weird, though.
Well,
you can
C.T.
have an
Fletcher.
operation on your heart, and it changes your whole personality.
Well, there's one thing about that Dr. Mark Gordon, you know Mark Gordon, he actually did a paper on post-traumatic surgeries, like open heart surgeries, and the effect it has on depression and perhaps suppression of your body's ability to produce hormones.
There you
And
go.
there's something about being under anesthesia for long periods of time with very complicated operations that leaves people uniquely depressed afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was telling me about this after the whole Robin Williams things happened, because Robin Williams got sick He had a heart condition. He had heart surgery, and then he eventually wound up committing suicide. And he's like, I'm not saying it's the reason why Robin Williams did that, but there is absolutely some connection between this compromised hormonal system and depression, and between a compromised hormonal system and long operations while under anesthesia. And I was like, wow.
Well, haven't you had a lot of guys on about the gut biome?
Oh, yeah.
And how that affects your mood?
Dude, from having people on, from having Chris Kresser on the last time he was on, I'm eating like 4 cans of kimchi a week.
Oh, really?
Big ass cans, man. I'm eating fermented cabbage.
Of course, because you're an extremist. Do you have to eat that much?
Crazy.
I know, but listen to me. Look at me right now. Just because fucking kimchi is good for you doesn't mean you have to eat that much, bro.
I eat it all the time, dude.
You're the extreme. Can you have a little bit, like the way the Koreans do?
Feel pretty good.
I know, but the guy,
working.
he gets a piece of information and he'll just eat like a fucking. I'm eating bowls of kimchi.
Yeah.
I played this video game for
You know what I
15
had for
hours.
breakfast?
I fainted.
I never do that, but I have bone broth and kimchi.
Of course
for
you do.
breakfast.
Of course you do.
And I put habanero sauce in the bone broth.
What a surprise.
I sweat. Beads of sweat coming off my bald head. Just pouring down.
Of course.
And I'm eating spicy kimchi and I'm drinking
You
spicy bone
extremist,
broth.
because you're an extremist. Yeah.
Feel good.
He wants to live forever.
No.
He's in love with immortality.
No,
I told
it's
you.
not immortality. It's
what he
just
loves, you
right
fuck.
now until the lights go off. This motherfucker's going good.
I'm going to be dead someday, so here we go.
This engine is purring. I'm cornering. Everything's
Listen,
good.
man, if you think I didn't have a long conversation with Mr. Justin Dees, who is Phil Heath's trainer, and he's a Mr. Olympia guy. He trains all those guys. I talked to him for a long. I cut to the chase. I go, Phil, listen to me. I mean Justin, not Phil. Justin Dees. I go, Justin, right now, came to my show in Salt Lake. I go. And his beautiful wife, Heather Dees, is number 4 in the Olympia.
She kill you?
She looks amazing. And I went, hey, bro, let's cut to the chase. You know everything about nutrition and everything about weightlifting. There's no doubt about how to build muscle. He's a fucking genius. Talk to me about TRT, because I'm 50 and it's getting to a point where I'm going to have to start shooting myself up.
And what did he say?
We had a long talk. Don't worry about it. The point is, I'll be seeing a doctor fairly soon.
Look at
if
her.
you guys see me really muscular.
That? No. Let me say no. You don't bench enough
I'm not
for her.
afraid. I'm not afraid.
You don't bench enough. First of all, she's got a boyfriend, rather.
She's got a husband. Yeah, so I wouldn't even talk about it.
Giant man.
He's a very thick
drop
man.
it. Just
not
drop
tall,
it,
but
Callen.
thick. All right,
have
sorry.
some respect.
Sorry, man.
But Jamie's pulling up pictures of her ass.
Hey, bro, I wasn't looking. I was just looking at her back.
She's being judged on it.
I'm looking at her back.
Bro.
I'm looking at her back.
Just because someone else buys slaves doesn't mean you have to.
You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Probably into orcas, too.
This,
being
what we
in
just
pools.
highlighted, is the real problem with the social justice warrior movement, is they eat their own to try to take away any sort of blame on themselves.
I just think the liberal left has lost their sense of humor. You can't even be funny. You can't say anything.
I predict that this is the inevitable demise of a vast majority of the colleges in this country.
I agree.
And that people are eventually going to learn how to form communities and learn online.
Well,
Especially
Jonathan, you know Jonathan Haidt? He's creating the Heterodox Academy. You know about this?
No.
So Jonathan
Sounds like
Haidt is a fucking giant. Jonathan Haidt, I can't believe you haven't had him on this podcast. He's a giant. He wrote the happiness hypothesis.
Will he fit in this room?
Yes. His brain might not, though. And he basically is at Columbia University, and he was like, this place, you got fucking students that can report you blindly, and then you get called up in front of a whatever, and he said,
appropriation.
and it's 17-1 usually, like 17 hardcore liberal sort of leftists and 1 conservative to these colleges, like Brown and Columbia. And he said, this is orthodox thinking. It's so bad that they've created safe spaces where you're not even allowed to hear the other side because it might be violent. It might be too much. So he said, I'm creating his Jonathan Haidt, H-A-I-D-T. You have to have him on. There he is. He's a genius, and he's awesome in every way. And he's so important as a thinker. He's one of the more influential thinkers in the past 30 years.
Really?
Yes. Basically proving that intuition and that your feelings control so much of your thinking. He's a fucking genius, a social scientist.
Damn.
Anyway, that's my shout out to Jonathan Haidt. I'm glad I had a chance to talk about him. But
powerful shout out to Jonathan Haidt.
Yeah, but he created the Heterodox Academy. He's like, this orthodox thinking is fucking, is not good for anybody.
It's what we talked about earlier. It's people being tribal.
Idea sex. We need idea sex.
Do you remember that thing at University of Missouri where that woman, that guy was an Asian young student photographer, and this woman came over and she was yelling at him to stop taking photographs because they had created a safe space.
That's awesome.
And then she said, "Can I get some muscle over here to take this photographer out?" He's like, "This is like the First Amendment."
Wow.
He's like, "I need freedom of speech, freedom of the press.
I
Like
didn't see this.
I'm taking photographs. Like there's an event that's happening on public property here. Like what do you? I'm a part of the school. I'm being hired to do this
Because she's
she comes over.
infantilizing them.
She's a woman.
She's
yeah.
protecting them.
She's not even a child. I mean,
It's
this
her
is
child.
She's a professor in training. Or
Yeah,
something
because
like that.
anybody
Like
who
this
disagrees,
lady,
anybody
she
who
comes
disagrees,
over.
look at
Listen
her.
to
She
this.
looks like a fanatic.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here.
Well, boy.
So crazy.
She's not very smart.
Well, she got caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's really what it is more than anything. She probably thought she could get away with doing that. She didn't realize how crazy it would seem on camera saying, I've got some, I need to get some muscle over here to get a reporter out.
So she's thinking the same way those that are intolerant are thinking, right? She's the same
Yeah.
methodology. Her brain works the same way. You're in the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you out of the way. Well, ISIS goes, you're not a believer. No point in trying to convert you. I'm going to shoot you or cut your head off because,
Right.
you know, it's the same
Yeah.
mentality.
You're totally right. You're totally right.
Same methodology.
Yeah, and it's also like she's in a heightened state, right? She's in a combat state. She's immediately argumentative. The guy's got a camera on her.
Because
You gotta get outta here.
anybody who disagrees with her is rooted in evil and
Yes.
falsehood.
The enemy.
Right?
You're racist,
Yeah.
sexist,
Yeah.
xenophobic.
And when you say when
transphobic.
you hit somebody with racism, when you go you're racist or sexist, what you do is you shut down the whole debate.
Yes.
Because you just labeled this very complex human being with all kinds of emotions.
Right.
Who goes through some days I'm having a moment I fucking hate everybody.
Right.
Other days I love everybody.
Well, if
I'm
you hate
listening to-
everybody, then you hate black people, then you're racist.
I hate them all. But if I'm listening to
Son of
Andrew
a
Day,
bitch.
I care about terrorists and their mothers and everything. You know, it depends. We all have moments. But when you brand somebody, what we do is we go, "You're a racist. You said one thing, so you're racist." Now I'm going to inflate that. I'm going to blow that up like a big balloon and fucking strap it to your face, and you are out of the conversation,
Forever.
bro. You're done,
Forever, bro.
Yeah,
Because you're my competition.
that's right. That's right. And your ideas might be threatening to me. More important, they create violence towards me. Therefore, I need a safe space. Oh, and by the way, I have all the answers. My side is rooted in the truth and love.
Plus, crabs in a bucket. Trying to push those other crabs down so I can make my way to the tippity top.
I love crab metaphors. God damn it.
Best way to do it is to call other people racist.
That's it.
And everybody's like, "What? Me? What? What?" You immediately get people on their heel. Oh, what? What?
And we're
Wait,
not-
What? Racist? What? What?
Yep.
What? You sexist? Oh,
Yep.
What? Me?
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Huh? What did I say?
We're not racist or sexist. We're tribal, right? That's
You
the theme.
think there's a
This has been the tribal
biological
podcast.
basis to sex, and that is patriarchal in and of itself.
Uh-huh.
There's no biological basis for sex.
Not hormones, not
Dude,
XY chromosomes, not a
People
uterus.
are saying that unironically in 2017. They're saying it on a regular basis.
Really?
Yep. It's one of the Jordan Peterson discussions that he had with some, I don't know if it was a man who became a woman or a woman who became a man, but she was a professor.
I saw it. A professor of
Yeah.
medicine.
No, professor at University of Toronto, professor in like transgender studies or something.
I saw the debate.
Yeah, it was a hilarious debate.
I know.
She's saying there's no sexual or bio. What is it?
Said there's no difference between. It's a very popular
Quote.
misconception to think that there is a difference between male and female. That
Yes.
doesn't exist.
There was no biological basis for gender.
Yeah.
Like, but?
Yeah, okay.
But if you go to the puppy store and you say, "I want a boy puppy," and they
Well,
give
dude.
you a girl puppy, what do you say? You say, "Well, there's no biological basis
There's
for
no
gender."
How about the
so I'll take
powerlifter?
girl
The powerlifter
puppy.
that became a woman
Yes.
and was a competitive powerlifter as a man.
Let me stop you right there because she
Yeah.
is a woman. She's always been a woman.
Sorry.
Don't be a piece of shit.
No, she's a
Continue.
woman now.
No. She's always been a woman. Just now she gets to express herself in the most unique way.
I
Excuse
see.
me. Not unique.
So before, when she was, even though she had an XY chromosome on her dick and she was competing in men's division, she was a woman.
This is so transphobic. I can barely handle this.
I just asked a question, man.
She is her authentic self. Okay.
Do you get a
That's
lot of
what she
shit
is.
for your when you talk this way from?
Only by people that are retarded.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like most transgender people would be very reasonable and not be insane.
I had a bunch of transgender people come to see me at the Ice House the other day. They all gave me hugs. They were super sweet.
I love that.
They said, "But the trans community loves you." I go, "I love you guys."
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of trans people, by the way, that were upset at that whole Bruce Jenner Caitlyn Jenner
I'm sure.
fiasco. They're like, look, this is not who we are. Like you just want more attention.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
you're a Kardashian.
Exactly.
You big old male Kardashian became a chick. Settle down.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of people that felt sort of like, also when they found out that Bruce Jenner then became Caitlyn Jenner, and then after that didn't believe in gay marriage. Okay!
So fucking weird.
I think we're done here.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe you're just crazy.
you can be a boy who wants to be a girl, or a girl who wants to be a boy,
I
but
have
it
no
doesn't
problem with
mean
that.
you're smart. It
Right.
doesn't mean you're smart, and that's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem. And if you're an intelligent person who's in the transgender community, you don't want that as your ultimate representation. You don't.
right.
You just don't. You don't want
Exactly.
someone who's got that much of a contradiction where they, like, and they asked him about it. One of the most crazy things he said is like, "Well, I've always been a traditionalist." Like, what?
What?
You're not traditionalist. You're a man who became a woman.
Yeah,
that's not
that's-
traditional.
Yeah.
You don't believe in gay marriage, because that's even dumber. Because what you're talking about, you're changing biology. And you're saying that some man-made bullshit fucking thing called marriage, that guys shouldn't be able to do it if they love each other, but you should be able to be a girl.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. That makes me angry.
It's so
You're
weird.
making me angry.
It's so
You're
so
making
bizarre.
me
I
angry.
can't even. I end up rubbing my eyes because I don't know how to respond to insanity.
It's the only time I've ever seen Ellen go after somebody.
Really?
Ellen had Caitlyn Jenner on her show, and she actually went after her. And notice how I said her, not misgendering, because I'm a good person.
Yeah, you are.
And I'll
Yeah, you
vote.
are.
I'll vote Democrat if it works.
Strange. Remember I said that on the podcast? You were like, bullshit. And I was like, I'd heard it.
Yeah, you called it way before
Yeah.
anybody knew.
I just
You
heard.
called
I
it-
got that's because I heard it from a reliable source.
And you called it like, I want to say a year and a half early.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I knew he was already starting to feminize his looks. Also, his
Yeah.
kids go to a school, and he would show up in bracelets, and they were like, "What's going on?" His hair would be in a barrette. Like,
Dude,
what's going on?
you and I need to get press credentials. What is this? Feminism site Medusa magazine shuts down after founder admits it was pure satire.
No way! Oh my God!
Oh my God, don't gender your pets. It was pure satire the whole time. Oh, you beautiful people. Thank you. I'm going to
that's
tweet that as soon as this
great.
podcast's
Yeah,
over.
it's great.
You guys are
The
beautiful.
entire project.
Thank you for being you. Thank you for fighting the good fight. Resist. That's the real resist. Keith Olbermann, I get what you're doing, but the real resist is to fight the nonsense.
Well,
We need to
fight the nonsense with humor. Well, you know what Michelangelo said? My favorite quote: "Criticize by creating."
I got a new show for you and me.
What?
You and me.
Yeah.
We go to places. We get high as fuck. And
Okay.
we become journalists. We get high as fuck.
But then I don't say anything. I forget everything.
No. You're doing just like this. You don't get high as fuck. I get high as fuck. You
Okay.
take one hit.
Okay, I'll
And
take one hit.
We go to places as journalists and we interview people. Whether it's we go to like a Republican correspondence dinner or a Democratic convention, or we go and you and I,
Okay.
just but drunk and high. And we interview these people, and we mock this whole thing. We get a view of like how crazy the frenzy is, the center of the hive for control of the queen. And watch those fucking crazy assholes just
We
duke
call
it out.
we call it the center of the hive.
Freak Party Worldwide. That's what we call it. Freak Party Worldwide. We're not Democrats. We're not Republicans.
Freak
We're in the
Party
Freak
Worldwide.
Party. Freak Party Worldwide.
I'm in.
And we go. And
I'm in.
We act as. I'm dead serious about this. I say we get Netflix to do this.
All right.
And we just fucking travel.
I'll
And
do
we-
it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we get one dude to film us that can keep his mouth shut. And
Well, we never see each other. I always complain about it on the podcast. I'm like, I never see
So
Rogan.
let's do it.
I sulk about it. I'm like,
I
he's
know,
hunting without
I
me.
say it too. I say it too. Well, I
Hey,
got
let's go.
obsessed
Let's
with
go hunting with.
We're
I
supposed
know,
to.
but you're bow hunting. I have a fucking bow, bro.
I know. I've got a problem though. I've got a hunting problem.
No,
I've
I've
got a hunting
quote, what? Oh, really? Kimchi and fucking hunting. You mean
Yeah.
you're an extreme with both?
Yep.
I've never seen that before from you.
No, well, this is, I'm out there every day shooting out a rubber
Every day.
deer.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real problem. I got golf
You're the
elbow.
greatest.
I got
You're the
golf
greatest.
elbow in my arm
You do?
from pulling my bow back too much. Yeah,
Oh
to
my
get stem cell
God.
shots.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
I had a
love
good
it.
time, though. Fucking wonderful time.
I do
couldn't
that
be
with
having
fucking
more fun.
boxing. Schaub
Yeah.
gets mad at me for sparring, but I just love it so much.
Let it ride, bitch. Let it ride. I'm with you. Let it ride. Yeah.
Did you see that where Luke Rockhold punched me in the fucking nose?
Yeah, don't let him do that.
And then I had to go get makeup put on my nose Dude, my nose was so black and blue. I had to get up. I'm at the fucking San Jose Improv.
That's
and I was
hilarious.
like, I gotta take pictures of this. Is ridiculous. I couldn't cover it. It was black and blue.
Why'd you let him punch you?
I didn't. It wasn't like, hey, Luke. I was like, well, obviously he threw me headgear, and I go, hey, Luke, listen to me right now. I'm a gazelle right now, and there are a bunch of lions out there. Let those people know, like all those guys training, that I'm a bitch, that I'm an actor at 50,
Right.
and I dance around a gym.
How bad did he hit you?
I spar because I do it with people who aren't athletic. Yeah,
did
but
he
it was
do?
way worse than that. What's that?
What did he hit you with?
He punched me with his fucking glove right in the nose. That's when it wasn't even, it got purple. Okay.
Yeah, but why do you think it's cute to fight professionals? Dumbass.
Well, first of all, I didn't want to. I thought I was going to hit mitts, and he throws me headgear, and I go, I don't want to do this. And Daniel Cormier goes, I got him first. And Cormier double legs me. And look at that. Look at that stupid nose I got to take pictures with. It was ridiculous.
Well,
it didn't work.
You should just stick to just straight boxing where you could school them with your skills.
Oh, yeah. You know me. I'll fucking slip those jabs. Bop, 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 bop.
That's one of the worst things. Like, why don't you get involved in jiu-jitsu? That way you don't have to get hit.
I'm going to.
Yeah, because
I miss wrestling.
Yeah.
I miss mat work. I
mean,
really do. I
When
miss
you
it.
first started doing jiu-jitsu, way back when we were at Carlson Gracie's
Yeah.
place, you took to it right away.
Yeah,
from the
'cause I was a
wrestling,
wrestler.
And it was like, oh, this is, I get
I trained with
this is
Henso
fun.
for a year. I love
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. I love it, love it.
Yeah.
I like boxing, though. I really like...
It's fun.
It's such a challenge to me. Obviously jiu-jitsu is a whole world and it's really difficult, but there's something about boxing at my age I guess I like because I guess it's just such a mystery. It's such a mystery to
Yeah,
me.
well, you're learning a skill, and in learning that
Patterns.
skill, and then
Yeah.
on top of that, you're also working out.
Yes.
That's one of the fun things. Like, if you
Yes.
could find a sport, like, here's a good one, soccer. Like, if you play soccer, you're going to fucking run around a lot.
A lot. But you're also going to fuck your knees up.
You're gonna fuck your
And
knees
I'm
up.
too old. But boxing, actually, you stay pretty injury-free, believe it or not. And you can get to
Except
a point
your
where you're not
brain.
going to... Yeah, but you
Whatever.
wear headgear. You don't go crazy on each other. I'm not fucking fighting... You know where you get hurt? When you spar dudes who don't box and they swing for the
yeah.
fences and they catch you. If you fight dudes like that are really good, like I'll
just
spar
tap
sometimes,
you.
the great Wayne McCulloch, I'll spar with him sometimes. Like I'll
Perfect.
get in there. Wayne at 44 is going to do whatever he wants, even though he's 135 pounds. But we're moving around. He'll hit
Yeah.
me, but he's not going crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the best in jiu-jitsu too. You get less hurt when you spar with someone who's really good.
Correct.
You don't win.
No.
You're gonna get tapped a lot,
Yeah.
but you won't get hurt. Like,
Right.
he'll just control you.
And you learn patterns. And then pretty soon you learn these patterns,
Yeah.
you start practicing. Then you go against a guy who doesn't box a lot.
Exactly.
And you look good.
Like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah. And he goes,
Yeah.
dude, you've been doing it a long time. You're like,
Yeah, bro.
I'm fucking
Almost went pro.
nothing. Yeah, right.
Almost went pro, bro.
I look good.
You see my left.
What's funny
Right
is you
now I'm
can
fighting
anybody
southpaw.
can learn how to hit mitts. It's where you punching from.
Yeah.
And what kind like how are you setting that up? That's and
Yeah.
how are you not getting hit?
Yeah, and what happens when you get hit to the body? You're like,
Dude, that's the worst. That is the fucking worst.
That's why kickboxing is so much more terrifying. And Muay Thai, when you watch dudes getting kneed in the body.
No, no thank you.
I
No
was
thanks.
watching John Wayne Parr's, he had a video up on his Instagram of him fighting when he was 17.
God.
The first title that he won. John Wayne Parr's like 44. I know John Wayne Parr's my boyfriend.
30,
I talk
he's
about
40
him too much
now, I
time.
think. He's
41. I
Yeah.
think he's 41. And still going after it. But like watching a video of him from when he was 17 years old, kneeing some dude in the body, he's like, punches and knees. And,
Yeah. I don't have time to condition my shins.
this is him. 17, man. Isn't that crazy? 1993.
Look at
John
him
Wayne
punch,
Parr.
man.
Crazy. Look at those knees in the body, son.
Is that him in the red?
Yeah. John Wayne Parr's a fucking savage. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Just a real fighter, man. Love
Yeah,
it.
it's a crazy way to express yourself, you know, but you really get to see a person's character in a fight. That's the thing.
100%.
That's the thing that makes it so crazy. It's just
100%.
it's this wild melee of bones and flesh, and you get to see how bright your star shines.
It's also really awesome to learn defense and learn how to get out of the way, learn how to block, keep your
Problem
eyes open
solving.
when somebody's kicking and stuff.
Yeah, problem solving, how to figure out what
Yeah.
to do when
Yeah.
the issues are. Oh, boom, that's it.
By the way, I shouldn't, but just so everybody knows, I didn't spar with Luke Rockhold and Daniel
He just
Cormier.
punched you in the face.
I got to move around, and they were really nice to me, and they moved me around at will. So let's not. I hate when people like me say I sparred with so and so. No, you
Right.
didn't spar. You didn't spar with them.
Because they beat the fuck
The
out of you.
fucking yes, you moved around with them, and they were being cool, and you got to throw some shit
Yeah.
and do some stuff that you've learned and giggle.
Exactly.
Yeah, relax.
Yeah.
If I had opened up with my Taekwondo, they'd be some, yeah.
What if you did like one of them Bruce Lee moves?
Dude, my wheel kick, you want no fucking
I've
part of
seen
that
it,
shit.
dude. I've seen it like sort of like when that.
Not in the air, you
Ty
haven't.
Cobb
Not
can
in the
read.
fucking air.
You know, Ty Cobb could read the letters on the. I could see your kick coming a mile away, bitch.
You could read the label on my underwear.
Well, Bryan Callen, it's 5 p.m. I say we wrap this bitch up. Bring
This
it
was
home.
a pleasure, my brother.
We need to do this more often.
I
know
love
we've
you.
said this before.
I
love
miss you.
too.
I never see you. I don't see you enough. It hurts
we
my
have
feelings. My
some of the
feelings are a
most
little
silly-
hurt.
Hey, we're hanging out in a couple hours.
All right,
We're
but
gonna
on
be
the
at Comedy
record,
Store tonight.
for the record, my feelings are hurt.
Mine aren't hurt too. It's not my fault. Shit, you're busy too, bitch.
We're both.
Damn.
We are busy.
Really fun though. It was awesome. Bryan Callen, ladies and
Come
gentlemen.
see me at
Follow
Cobb's.
him.
Cobb's.
Cobb's when?
And then Cobb's December 7, 8, 9. Then
Good
the
Lord.
following week at Schaumburg Improv,
Oh my
you
God.
bastard. December
They call it
14,
Chicago,
15,
but
16, whatever.
Plan ahead.
Yep. And by
If
the
you're
way,
gonna drive,
go see
way
Brendan
further.
Schaub at the Wilbur Theater, please. January 19th. Sell that bitch out.
December 19th. No, January.
January 19th.
January 19th.
Yeah.
January 19th, day before the UFC. I'll be there hanging out with them. All right, you fucks. We love you. Bye.
That was awesome. Time goes by quickly, huh?